What should you do when the Ouija board answers you? Published to the r/ghosts subreddit, Nepa Smash asks viewers their thoughts on this scary video, which was filmed during a Ouija board session in a haunted room of their home. In the clip, the group asks if any spirits would like to communicate. After a moment, there is an alarming bang off screen.
Are there any spirits that would like to communicate with us?
Two of the boys look up. Right before the bang, however, another mysterious action unfolds, but it's hard to see if you don't know it's there. A paintbrush is thrown across the room. Although it's difficult to tell in the video, this Imgur photo shows the incident in more detail. Many in the thread think a non-supernatural explanation might be that the guy laying on the floor off to the right could have played a trick on the other somehow, but some note that he doesn't even seem to react. As for the knock, well, the combination of the knock and the projectile does seem uncanny. Setting the rest aside, Redditor Eekecum draws the right conclusion. Please tell me you closed out of the Ouija board after that. Who knows what might have happened if they didn't? Mysterious lights keep showing up outside this man's residence in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Eduardo Ferreira captured the intriguing recurring lights of potential unidentified flying objects, which he published in both August and November of 2021. The August footage shows a bright white light drifting in the night sky. A close-up shows that it appears to be multicolored and twinkling. The light then flies quickly across the skies, vibrant against the dark clouds above. It drifts overhead until the view is blocked by an adjacent building. The second video, filmed in November, shows a series of bright blue twinkling lights, the same size as the first. They float in front of another adjacent building, just drifting there, but not moving in any pattern or course, as the previous light did. So after seeing both clips, what do you think? To what do these lights belong? Is there a logical explanation? Or are these lights cause for extraterrestrial concern, given the fact that Edward has caught it twice on camera already? I doubt it will be the last time he sees this. This video of a Mississippi swamp creature is hard to see, but the payoff is worth it. Watch the circled area and tell me if you see movement or not.
Baby!
Now here's the same area zoomed in. You can see something is behind the tree, a creature whose oversized arms extend down to the swamp. It straightens its back as it sees the camera and looks to the camera. It's hard to say if this really is a swamp creature or just shadows cast from the leaves above. This is allegedly the swamp creature's face. If it was just a bit closer, we'd have enough detail to make a final decision. That looks like it could be the face of a creature or just some tree bark to me. There's no trickery to this one, nothing paranormal, but we guarantee it will make some of you very scared. Posted to TikTok by Madison Bergia, the spider reunion on this ceiling is sure to send everyone out the door, leaving their shadow behind them. Madison captured this enormous mama spider and all her little spider babies just chilling outside, down right above her. Most commenters say they're moving to Mars, while Luray fan page writes that his anxiety went through the roof watching this. We're with you, Larry. If you haven't panicked yet, now's the time. Just kidding. A security guard is walking up a stairwell on his overnight shift when he hears this. Posted to TikTok, Simon Lockhart shines his flashlight on the floors below and above and can't tell from which direction the footsteps are coming, but then they come running at him.
Oh my, what the what the Bro.
If your heart just jumped into your throat, you're not alone. Some in the comments say they see a face in the door. When he looks up, do you see it? Is this what is chasing him?
Oh my, what the
Not the Ronald Reagan, but a man in Alabama who used his likeness for, let's just say, illicit activities. Reality TV star Danielle Yancey was disturbed to find an uninvited visitor was captured on her CCTV lurking on the front porch. The man peered through Yancey's window for several minutes while he crouched down on the porch. Eventually, Yancey's husband walked by the window, causing the man to flee. Obviously, it can be scary to find anyone lurking on your property, but there's an extra creepy factor when the individual is wearing nothing. According to Yancey, a man did show up at their house soon after, this time fully clothed, apologizing and identifying himself as the one in the video, claiming the entire thing was a harmless prank. It is unknown if Yancey and her husband pressed charges, or what became of the peeping Reagan, but let's just hope this doesn't start a trend similar to clown sightings anytime soon. Bro, is all a student writes after staying on the bus to capture this paranormal activity. Listen to how hard this window snaps shut, and tell me how this is even possible with no one around. Afterwards, he claims to see two faces in the window, something which apparently happens often, and I actually see what he means. These are its eyes, and here its nose. The rest of its face is hidden from view because it's peeking in. Same with the window beside it. A YouTuber in India named Ankur Kashyap Vlogs claims to have filmed real paranormal evidence. A spooky ghost caught on tape while driving around late at night. A person on a bike is up ahead. They pull up to him, and what happens next is terrifying. The narrow, unlit bridge must have claimed a life or two, because the man on the bike is suddenly no more, as in gone, vanished. He expects to pass him by, but goes through him instead. Tell me if you can see any jump cuts where he paused the camera to make it look like the man disappeared. It seems like one continuous shot, and if so, then that's just plain creepy. It's not often you see two trains so close on the same track, occurring near Smith Falls in Ontario, Canada in 1992. The footage shows a passenger train that needed to hit the emergency brakes while en route to Toronto. The passenger train appears to be traveling at a fairly fast speed when a stationary freight train comes into view down the track. As the commuter has little time to slow, the engineer stumbles out of the locomotive cab. In the meantime, the freighter backs up slowly while the commuter train has managed to brake hard enough to come to a complete stop right in the nick of time. The approach left no more than 6 feet between the locomotives, a close call that makes little to no sense as to why or how it happened. A Redditor named Stalker the Zone seems like he is in a real hurry as he records a wheelchair at the hospital. He is definitely waiting for something to happen, but I get the feeling he doesn't want to get caught by anyone using his phone, so maybe this is his place of work.
Come on.
Just when he is about to give up, the wheelchair comes to life and moves on its own. His vindication gives way to horror when he realizes the wheelchair is turning his way.
See, I fucking don't. No.
I guess someone off screen could be pulling the wheelchair towards them, but my understanding is that wheelchairs are fairly heavy, and any wire that could pull it would also be thick enough to see on video. This alleged ghost video was taken on the second floor of a college, but I think it might simply be a chair getting pulled by string. Still, do you see anything here when zoomed in? I can't say I do. What is lurking on this roof at night? Published by Scary Labs in July of 2021, this paranormal team captured something unearthly prowling atop a roof in the darkness. The figure captured is bright green, almost digital in nature. It appears to be something in a hooded robe. First looking toward the crew, the figure turns and walks away. The crew doesn't seem to notice the figure at the moment, though it's captured again on camera as they walk toward the building. When they light a candle, the resistance registers again, but this time just its outline. This time they see it and run off in fear. The figure can be seen again still looming on the roof behind them. While many in the comments say this is next level editing, some are more inspired by the Oscar-worthy acting. We can probably gather that this is fake, but those who believe it's real are legendary.
ओए, ऊपर क्या है भाई? ऊपर देखो भाई, भाई, मोमबत्ती फेंको भाई, ओए मोमबत्ती फेंको, चलो भाई, चलो चलो चलो.
This faded family footage goes from heartwarming to horrifying when you realize what this father has done to become a wanted man with a $100,000 reward on his head. According to the FBI, this man extinguished his entire family, wife included, and then created a gas leak in the home. He lit a candle and the house went up in an instant to cover his tracks. This was back in 2001 and no traces of him have been uncovered. He is still on the top 10 most wanted list just in case. The power goes out and a man must go into the basement to find the circuit breaker. There's only one problem.
This is where I heard the booming at night.
Once he gets downstairs, his beam is swallowed in the darkness, and while fumbling around, he barely catches a glimpse of a pale face down there with him. And by the time he gets the flashlight to work again, it's already too late. Whatever this is a face of, ghost or otherwise, I doubt it's a mask because at 50 seconds you can see its mouth open and its smile fade away as it lunges forward. It doesn't grab him and he is able to get away, so if this is real, then it could be one of the highest resolution ghost sightings ever caught on camera to date. Who you gonna call? Likely this Russian YouTuber after watching this video. The YouTuber writes in Russian, "When I started the project, I did not even imagine that it would get such results. Thousands of your posts about missed moments in Ghostbuster." The YouTuber explains that in past videos that he's posted, subscribers have found paranormal looking figures in the abandoned buildings he's explored. He ghost busts a couple of these myths, showing that looks can be deceiving. Looks to be a white figure beyond in the shadows of a darkened room. Dima explains that it was actually 2 pieces of white paper taped to the wall. However, he admits that other experiences do stump him. In one estate, something dark appears to be sliding slowly up a doorway in a room beyond. He concludes that it was either a bat rather than something paranormal, or that considering the estate is in the middle of Moscow, something else was on the premises and stuck their hand around the corner to see if he'd notice. Lastly, while exploring an estate, a ghost is seemingly captured peering from under the archway of a room. At this point during his exploration, Dima admits that a chill ran through his entire body. This one appears to stump Dima, and he asks his viewers if they want him to return to this place and try and recreate the scene and its circumstances to figure out once and for all what happened here. Do you want to know? Or do you think the undead are best left undisturbed? Letchworth Village used to be a collection of 130 mental asylums built 2 hours from Brooklyn, a place where unwanted people in the early 1900s New York were taken to be forgotten, never to be visited, never to be removed. Atrocities were inflicted daily upon patients unable to make sense of what was happening to them or to defend against it. With a ratio of 3 nurses to every 80 patients, there simply wasn't enough staff to keep everyone well fed or even alive. Mealtimes were a mad scramble in which a handful of nurses had to shovel food down patients' throats, often against their will. Some didn't survive. Their bodies were branded with a number and taken to a cemetery in a nearby forest. Letchworth Village did not shut down until 1996, 85 years of suffering total. Now, after 100 years after its creation, the 130-building mega asylum has rotted down to only a few of the most haunted sites left standing. Areas full of activity that a paranormal explorer named Angelo wants to document. On March 2nd of 2020, Exploring with Angelo enters one of the only buildings left standing. Shadow figures watch from a distance as they cautiously make their way through. Apparitions who are there one moment and gone the next. And it isn't until they begin walking up the stairs that the creepy noises begin. Sounds like doors opening while both of them are standing in place.
That basically might have been housing the warden. That basically might have been housing the warden.
or this low croak right behind them at 4 minutes and 46 seconds.
That's weird. That's weird.
Or when they get to the top and find the doors wide open leading into the dark forest. So if this door is already open, then explain this.
Glad these stairs are all made of metal. This goes to a road.
The door somehow creaks open without moving. It sounds like it's being pulled open from straight ahead, and yet nothing is there. Here's the door at 5 minutes and 6 seconds when the sound happens, and here it is again at 5 minutes and 50 seconds after the sound. It's open at the exact same angle down to the degree. They didn't touch it. They step through and turn around to look at the door from outside. They turn out their light to see if they pick up anything. Sure enough, these two beady eyes reflect on the wall despite there being no lights of theirs turned on. At 6 minutes and 25 seconds, they hear and see something jump across the camera. When they turn their lights back on, it's gone. They explore a few other rooms, and when they retrace their steps, the phantom doorway opens once more.
I just heard it again. Yeah, I heard it too. Whatever, just keep going.
The top floor is filled with hospital beds. Look what appears right as they ask a simple question out loud.
People claim they see in this place. Shadows.
A glowing circle floats by in response, and soon a bad feeling rushes them off of this floor. But as they are leaving, they hear this noise coming from a different building, one deeper in the forest.
That's what we've been hearing. That's what we've been hearing, but that's coming from the forest.
Angelo is walking towards the noise when it becomes evident that they are surrounded.
What?
They are looking one way when a hiss comes from the opposite direction.
What is that? I don't know. Oh, what the f was that?
Up ahead is another asylum building and more voices.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
That's where the noise is coming from.
And this large white sideways face peering at them from inside. As they walk around the perimeter, all of the commotion strangely stops. The forest is as silent as can be, but as soon as they enter the building, they hear the noise again. Something is playing with their mind. Inside is little more than room after room of decaying white wallpaper. When they reach the end of the hall, they hear heavy footsteps from where they just were. This sounds like real fear to me. At first they try to determine where the footsteps are coming from, but this is the moment they need to get out of there fast.
Ever since we got here.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
They faced their fears long enough to stop and turn around one last time to confirm they were really being followed.
Anything there?
I'd say it's pretty clear that they were. These fishermen were casting into the ocean waters of Palm Beach, Florida, when a massive potential megalodon shark comes straight at their boat. The gigantic shark is easily the same size as their entire boat and could flip them if only it knew how. The sea creature faces them head on and gives the fishermen a great view of its Goliath physique as they have a tense standoff. Then it quickly snatches up the bait and retreats back to the depths below. It's hard to make out a lot of detail because there is somewhat of a glare, but I have little doubt that this video is real. Let me know if you have any idea as to what kind of shark this could possibly be. This next video is most likely CGI, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time dissecting it. It was supposedly taken somewhere in the open waters in 2013. Crew members are recording a whale when all of a sudden, they capture something that, if not fake, is absolutely insane. The whole situation looks way too dramatic for me to believe it was just a natural event. I think a real shark attack would have been more visceral and also most likely would have taken place underwater. A YouTuber named Deep South Bama with Mr. Tom wakes up at 3 a.m. after, in his words, he heard some deep thuds around his house. When he goes outside, he sees strange activity around the flagpole in his local graveyard. These bouncing balls of light streak across the sky without a sound or any clue as to what they are. Sometimes they are dim and sometimes they are much brighter. Somebody said that they could be bats, but I noticed the lights always seem to stay at about the height of a person. It can't be flashlights because they keep going out after a second. It's impossible to tell what it is from this distance, and I don't think he wants to get any closer. A man finds himself trapped on the 30th floor of the Shinjuku Center building in Tokyo after the entire city was rocked by a 9.1 quake. Now nowhere is safe and there is nothing left to do except to record as doors and cabinets swing open uncontrollably and the entire building shakes. Everything grows eerily silent, and then this voice cuts through the speakers. There is a lot of frantic chatter in the background, so I think it was a live broadcast, not a recording. Try and translate if you can, because if you were there, your life may have very well have depended on following these instructions.
こちらは防災センターです。ただいま大きな地震を感じました。この建物は地震に対して安全な設計になっております。
After a while, the speakers turn off, and the guest hopelessly watches as the buildings sway like trees. It's kind of hard to see what I'm talking about, because the building he's in is shaking too. This second video, taken near the top floor of the Shinjuku Center building, shows how bad the shaking really was. The buildings look like they are going to topple at any moment, but they are actually designed to be incredibly flexible and can withstand intense vibrations. Keep in mind that these are just the smaller aftershocks and not the actual quake itself, which was, believe it or not, much worse. A YouTuber named Yvonne hears a noise coming from her kitchen and grabs her phone to record. After 15 seconds of silence, a cabinet door opens to let an item drop onto the counter.
Oh my god.
The obvious answer is that someone pulled a string to open it. However, the cabinet opens to the right and no one is on that side. I guess someone could have been directly underneath, but when Yvonne gets closer, you can see nobody is on the ground, so I'm not sure what to think. An outdoor restaurant is about to be creepy, and it's all caught on CCTV tape. This top right couple seems to be having an intense conversation. At 10 seconds, there's some chest pounding on both sides. It looks like a bad breakup or something until 25 seconds when he stands up and is ready to storm out, but then points at the food lodged in his throat. They weren't having an argument at all. He was slowly becoming more and more unable to breathe. She starts patting him on the back, but apparently this is a big mistake. I am not giving any medical advice, but the Mayo Clinic says not to do this unless you're trained to deliver a special back blow between the shoulder blades. From what I've read, patting someone on the back can sometimes make the food move further down the windpipe and get even more stuck. A brave restaurant worker gets behind him, makes a fist with one hand slightly above the belly button, grabs his fist and gives a quick upward thrust as if picking him off the ground for a moment. This is called the Heimlich maneuver, and it's a good thing somebody in the restaurant knew it. Most states have laws in place for restaurant staff to have this kind of training, and this scary scenario caught on tape is exactly why. I encourage everyone to get the proper training because you never know when this could happen to someone nearby, maybe even you. There must be no scarier feeling than having an entire crowd watch you helplessly while you can't breathe. This man who helped him is truly a hero. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee is one of the most haunted hospitals on earth. So much so that it's been officially designated as a paranormal research center on Google. Almost everyone that goes there has a paranormal experience. Take a YouTube channel called Lost Souls Paranormal for example. One of the few research teams brave enough to go exploring the haunted hospital's basement. An investigator named Bailey splits from the group, and this is what he records underground. Running footsteps are coming from all directions, and are possibly even in the same room that he is. Suddenly, the idea of ghost hunting isn't as fun as it was 5 minutes ago, and so he doesn't go any further. This is enough paranormal evidence to convince me, but let me know if you think it was his friends making the noise. Years prior, another paranormal investigator named L.W. Drums was close to the same spot of the hospital and experienced strange ghost activity as well.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us.
The voice of somebody who isn't there mocks the investigator with an exaggerated sigh, and a shadow appears at around this time too.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us. Something just touched my head. Ooh.
Something jabs him from behind. When he turns around, the mysterious camera goes out of focus like something is right up on the lens, and I don't know if this is a third member of the team, but at 29 seconds a mysterious figure is definitely just sitting on the other side of the room staring at them. Gorman Sujin is inspecting his new apartment with a camera to document any damages left from the tenants before him. He gets through all the rooms and the balcony without problem, but after reviewing the video later, he realizes that he is far from being home alone. A woman in white appears suspended in midair. I don't see a rope, but I will say she is next to the shower rod, and her feet are not touching the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what became of the last person who lived here. When you reach the end of the road, you better just turn around, otherwise this can happen. Posted by TikToker Sharpski. The TikToker may have escaped something life-ending at the end of the road. In the clip, Sharpski is traveling down a dirt road in a field at night. As the group drives on, they see a group aligned in a formation at the end of the field. They say the figures look like they have heads. They conclude that they are people and urge the driver to turn around. If they are people, what are they doing at the edge of a forest at night? Well, some in the comments, like TikToker Chris Michael, think these are simply dual targets at an open range. Others require further proof. Neen writes, "Keep driving. I want to see from the safe distance of my phone." But since the cameraman wouldn't have that luxury, I'm not sure if he'd be willing to risk it all for us to find out what's really happening here. Caden Parker meets up with some friends at a local skate park and finds someone much older trying to pick arguments with everyone he sees.
Big man! Who's big man? You, right? I'm going for a sleeper.
Dude, come on. Can you just leave us alone? We're just trying to have a good time, enjoying the nice weather.
Who cares? I'm going for a sleeper.
Soon he turns his attention towards Caden and tells him he's going to put him in a submission hold if he comes down from the ramp. By now the skate park has mostly cleared out, so it's just a face-off between Caden and this angry stranger.
Dude, the police are on the way. I hope you know that.
I hope so. We have I didn't saw individual at the
skate park,
and he's trying to pick fights with little kids. All right then. Might as well make it worth it.
Yo, tell him to send an officer ASAP.
An officer shows up right before things get any more out of hand. I really don't think this is a fake video, because the officer walks up and puts him in cuffs straight away. Apparently, he has a long history of doing this and nobody seems to be acting. After he's taken away, the park fills back up with people who are scared away. Caden Parker shows a lot of bravery standing up for them, as well as self-restraint by not stepping forward when challenged. Had this escalated, he could be in as much trouble as the person who is actually in the wrong. He did everything right in my opinion, and is allowed to enjoy the rest of his day peacefully as a result. The Mengier Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, claims to be one of the most haunted areas in the entire state, and there are plenty of videos to back up this statement. One of these videos involves a brother and sister who both suddenly get a strange feeling from the building and decide to start recording. They are exploring a very small and cramped area of the hotel. As they are discussing the possibilities out loud, the woman suddenly announces that she is extremely uncomfortable. You can't see it very well at first, but soon the camera zooms in and reveals 3 deep scratches along the woman's bare shoulder. They look fresh and sting badly. She says that she was simply sitting on the steps for just one moment, and the jagged marks appeared as soon as she stood up. Judging from this video, it looks as though she may have been literally cut by an angry ghost. First of all, what is a homunculus? The dictionary states that it's a very small human or humanoid creature. Wizzo97 uploaded this video instructing viewers how to make a homunculus in April of 2016. The video is in Russian, so bear with me. The man first rubs something that looks like isopropyl on an egg with a cotton ball. He then pokes the egg, injecting it with some substance. He then puts a band-aid over the hole in the egg, and then places it inside a small plastic container. Next, he places it inside a beanie hat, likely to keep it warm. Later, he cracks the egg open with a knife, emptying the contents into the plastic dish. Out of the ooze, he picks up a larvae-looking creature with his tongs. At first, it remains still, then it starts moving around.
Движение появилось. Похоже, он пришел в себя. Любопытно. Блять!
Not sure what he was expecting. After all, he was creating a homunculus. All that is left of the humanoid is a small stain. Simply bizarre, confusing, and intriguing at the same time. A YouTuber named Lord Cryptid looks up to see a gorilla-sized creature staring at him from a short distance away. The head and shoulders are clearly defined, but it's not moving at all, so Lord Cryptid decides to get a closer look. It continues to silently regard him as he closes in. Now only a thin patch of thickets and reeds separates him from the threat before him, and when he zooms in, you're not going to believe what he sees. He is only meters away and it still looks like a humanoid, not a bear. But when the camera focuses, what was originally an astoundingly scary creature is actually little more than a tree stump. I'm including this video because I feel like it could explain many of the other similar cryptid sightings in the woods. So in the future, unless the creature actually moves, it's probably just a stump. This YouTuber is fairly sure that he's captured a ghost on his dash cam when he's traveling down a suburban road and sees reflective lights on the right. Watch the parked car on the right to see what I mean.
So you know.
Yeah.
I personally think it looks like someone could be stepping into his line of movement here. It happens quickly, so I'll play it again in slow motion. Let me know if you see it. But when he pulls up to where the lights were, he and his friends are surprised to find nothing's there.
Where did it go? They walked in front of the car, right?
Yeah, it was like a wheelchair or something.
Both of them swear they saw the lights and thought someone was crossing the street. I guess his headlights could have been reflecting off of the parked car, but then again, the angle doesn't exactly seem to match up. Let me know if you see it and what you think it could have been. Mr. Biggs is a giant iguana who is not behaving normally. He hardly recognizes his owner upon entering his room. And yes, Mr. Biggs does happen to have his own room.
See, there he is. He tried to bite me.
The large lizard fits a single finger squarely in his mouth and clamps down, but a closer look reveals it's actually just an empty glove at the end of a ruler. As it turns out, Mr. Biggs was just hungry and not trying to take over. He might have even mistaken the glove for a big hunk of lettuce. Look at him here at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. You would never have expected this could be the same Mr. Biggs as before.
Yeah, he doesn't even care. Can wrangle him up.
A YouTuber named More Bad Ideas is riding his bike late at night. He normally would never go out at this odd hour, but he just got home from vacation and he just can't wait until the morning breaks to ride again. It's a decision that he will soon regret. He's popping wheelies down empty streets and old parking lots when he comes across a random golf ball sticking out from a sewer grate. He's amused and throws it around for a bit. It lands in some grass next to something much weirder, a camcorder laying in a wet plastic bag. The camera still has a memory card and some battery life, so he curiously presses play.
Yo, what the f is this? Dude, are you serious right now? Yo, that a knife with blood?
In case you couldn't see the screen clearly, the video shows a woman tied to a chair whimpering. Suddenly, a car puts its high beams on and floors it towards him. He hops on his bike and narrowly gets away. He sees the person chasing him one more time a short while later, and then he barely escapes again. This ghost hunter is wandering down the hallway of an abandoned building when he sees this.
مين انت؟ انت مين؟
Published by Hassan Barbar in June of 2021, something is sitting behind that door at the edge of the hallway, and I'm pretty sure it's a djinn. The door bursts open to reveal that it is indeed one of the cloaked creatures of myth.
انت مين؟
Although the djinn does not move, the door keeps slamming shut and bouncing open again. This goes on for a long while, and finally the djinn makes a move.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah. Bismillah.
He disappears behind the shut door. Hassan approaches, and when he slams the door open and enters the room, he finds the djinn has vanished. As he looks for him, it seems like he is pushed from behind.
Bismillah.
Then in another room, objects are being smashed.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وانا مش عارف شو الباقي قاعد بيصير صراحة. بسم الله.
Will Hassan find the djinn again before it's too late?
حاسس في إشي وراي يا اخوان.
Christian Garcia and a couple of his friends are riding around on a motorcycle late at night through the streets of Mexico and are enjoying their night when suddenly they come across something absolutely terrifying and startling on the road. Right here. This seems to just be a really sort of like isolated road in the middle of nowhere. It's clearly nighttime. And this individual is just sitting out here, staring off into the distance. I wish they would have asked if they needed help. instead just sort of take off. But I guess they do decide they should turn around, which is the right thing to do, so respect to these guys.
Hola, señora. ¿Qué dice? ¿Eh? ¿Quién es? ¿Qué le pasa? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Está en medio de la nada, ¿no? ¿Le pasa algo?
If anybody who speaks Spanish could please translate what was said in this conversation, but I assume they were asking if they were all right, to which they get no response from the stranger, and I think eventually just decide, yes, to just take off.
¿Le pasa algo?
Even when Christian and his friends drive back to where the mysterious stranger is sitting down on the side of the road, it doesn't really seem as though they are trying to talk to her too much, and I guess it makes sense because she is a complete stranger, and you never know exactly what a stranger is capable of. I just hope this person is okay and isn't suffering from any problems, but if they are, I hope they will be okay in due time. Leaked aerial footage was taken in late 2006. A formation of Italian fighter jets returned to base after conducting some training exercises when one of them, the one shown here, notices a thick black cloud fast approaching and only has moments to react.
Come? Sta passando da pane in mezzo a noi.
He performs an emergency maneuver and barely avoids a commercial airliner full of civilian passengers at the last possible second. Thankfully, his training kicked in because the much larger jetliner could not have changed its course. Look again and you'll see they come close enough to almost clip wings. If they had collided, no one would have survived. While staying at a hotel room in Ireland, Roisin O'Brien grabs her dad to show him something bizarre. A ghost is moving a cup on its own, she tells him. Of course, nothing happens and she looks like a total liar until suddenly...
That's freaky.
The cup moves all by itself to the edge of the glass shelf and then stops. There is no string around it that I can see, and besides, she is holding her phone and her dad is sitting on the bed clear across the room with his back turned, so no one was messing with it. She resets it, and as soon as she complains that it takes the ghost a long time, the cup moves instantly.
But like it's taken ages for it to go. It's like,
So let's just say there was string tied around the cup. Her father is now standing to the right of her, so if it was him, then the cup should pull to the right in his direction. Instead, it moves straight ahead and stops exactly on the edge of the shelf, same as before. The shelf is level and there is no moisture around the rim to make it slide like that. This is glass on glass, you can hear the friction.
ages for it to go. It's like,
She's right. The cup is moving on its own, maybe from a ghost. If you've ever known someone with a sleeping disorder, then you know there's tons of tossing and turning involved. But what if it's not a sleep disorder at all? What if it's paranormal? Posted to very spooky videos by a major malfunction, the Redditor writes, ghostly apparition appears near patient being studied for sleep deprivation and restlessness. According to the video, this is real CCTV footage from Kerala, India. A boy was being surveilled due to sleepwalking, but perhaps he was sleepwalking for a reason. The footage shows the boy sleeping, or trying to. He covers his head completely with his blanket, as he appears to be dozing on his side. The next moment, you can see a vague white figure appear to climb on top of the boy. Although you think it might be a trick of the light, in that same moment, the boy reacts startled, as if he feels the figure. Both of his hands fling, as if the spirit momentarily enters him. The video isn't without skeptics. Redditor the Common Law Wolf suggests in the comments, looks like a VHS CCTV system. If so, this is probably just remnants of previous recordings showing up on a recycled tape. could be, or it could be something paranormal is in that room. Throngs of people gather in the mountain province of Guizhou, China, to witness strange trumpet sounds in the sky. As you listen, tell me what this is and why it would happen way out in the middle of nowhere. The group hears 4 strange noises in a row, and yet none of them actually sees anything scary in the sky. But that's not all. The phenomenon known as sky trumpets is only the first phase. Soon the mountain range is filled with the sounds of a giant unknown creature, an enormous wild cat that's heard all over but seen by no one. And the final phase sounds like 2 giant creatures clashing. There's a clear victor, and one of them sounds like they are falling from the sky. Modern science cannot explain what's behind these noises, which makes you wonder if there's any semblance of truth behind the various ancient mythologies that speak of similar events. A YouTuber named You Want Sun catches an eerie moment on live TV when this news anchor has a problem unlike any I've seen. She sounds normal the entire time, but she starts blinking excessively, followed by this.
Is reporting a record turnout at this point. Nevada and Nebraska are also showing that Democrats are getting a jump on early voting. In Washington, I'm Susan Roberts. Ron and Mary.
Pause. And look.
I've seen videos where both eyes change into a creepy off color before, but I've never seen a video where one eye stays the same and one eye does whatever this is. Also, they cut away from her as soon as it happens, which makes Yuwat's son wonder what exactly happened here. I think it's possible, but I'm not sure, so I'd like to get your thoughts. Was this a glitch or something way worse? This hauntingly scary video was taken during a ceremony in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Look closely or you'll miss the scary stuff. First, pay attention to how the flames bend without any wind. Any gust of wind blowing the flames this hard should be kicking up sand and moving the branches of the nearby bush, but it's not. Then, after 16 seconds, a bizarre phantom apparition begins to materialize in the circled area. What's beyond creepy is this scary face that appears at 18 seconds and never fully goes away. A still image taken at 19 seconds reveals a floating face with a big nose and strong chin. Freaky, right? Or maybe it's just a lens flare from the flames. Still, the timing is a little bit too coincidental to not at least briefly consider the paranormal. A devious Dora doll goes exploring this house in a freaky paranormal way. The moving figurine is caught on camera doing some really weird things that probably weren't advertised on the back of the box. Creepy stuff like this. According to the uploader of this video, there were no batteries in this doll when Dora turns to face the camera like she's been caught. You must pay attention, but as one person pointed out, you can see the doll slowly turning its head for about 13 seconds before it snaps. The little girl is too busy singing to notice what's going on, or maybe she's used to it happening by now. Then again, maybe there is somebody behind the door holding the doll in such a way that we can't see their hand. A man is filming this old medieval building on the Mediterranean island of Sardinia when he notices the curtains of a balcony window are peeled back slightly to reveal a small grayish object peeking out from the bottom. Zoom in, and it almost looks like a tiny face, or else the top of someone's head who is very short, perhaps a small child. It could be a reflection of the palm tree swaying in the wind, or it could be a trapped spirit staring haplessly at the world to which it no longer belongs. Here's a video that shows how randonautica can be scary without even trying. A YouTuber named Nolan goes randonauting with his friends in search of the color orange. The app takes them to 2 orange cones, no problem.
You see that?
Cones. Orange cones. No way.
They are weirded out but not entirely convinced, so they decide to go randonauting for something more obscure that would be creepier to find, like the number 4.
So we're doing a number?
Yeah, okay. So
4.
Not only do they find the number 4 prominently etched into a concrete handrail, but get this, the location that's given to them to find the number 4
It's 4 minutes away?
is exactly 4 minutes away. Now they are getting creeped out and concentrate on a color that's hard to find in the countryside at night. The color blue. Not only does Randonautica take them to a pack of blue gum, when they go back to their car, they find out they were parked by an empty energy drink with blue lettering this whole time. Now you see it, now you don't. A pale, ghostly figure appears at the end of the darkened hallway. It seems to enter from the left. The dog clearly sees it and runs toward it. Then when the light flips on, the figure just disappears. The dog seems as surprised by this turn of events as we are. Watch it again. The figure is visibly there. There's no mistaking it. So where did it go? Although I'm not sure where the figure disappeared to, I did notice something else in the video. Watch the shadow on the floor after the light flickers on. Something clearly walks past in the other room. Is it the ghostly figure or some other monster? This is purportedly the most haunted house in Guadalajara, Mexico. YouTuber Ricky Velasquez dares to enter, but he will soon regret it. As he tours the place, he spots this.
Una noche loca. Las personas que estuvieron en esa transmisión. Perro, ¿qué es eso? No mames.
Did you see that figure? As he continues throughout the home, it seems to be stalking him.
Oye, ¿quién eres? Da la vida.
Wherever he goes, it follows.
Pues muéstrate, no seas cobarde. Muéstrate, muéstrate, muéstrate. A la bestia, no mames. No, tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Is someone there? Ricky keeps hearing noises, like someone is just out of sight.
¿Ha entrado sobre esto? No manches. ¿Qué fue eso?
After hearing humming during a spirit box session, things get wild.
No. Whoa. No.
I think this home is definitely haunted, but by what? I'm not so sure. A strange creature straight out of The Lord of the Rings was caught on camera in the woods. Published by SEOOOSST in April of 2022. The video appears to have been captured at dawn. The cameraman is walking through the woods. As he scans the area, his camera passes over this tree trunk and spots this mysterious creature hidden within. The creature has long pointy ears, big beady eyes, and grayish skin. Frankly, he looks a bit like Gollum. Upon seeing it, the cameraman immediately runs off. Is this a cryptid, a gnome, or is this Gollum looking for his precious? This video from Japan raises some big questions. And the biggest of all is, who is the stranger in the house with this man? This video is aptly titled, "Is it following him?" And that question really needs an answer. This homeowner, who I presume is recording after mysterious events kept happening in his home, demonstrates what happens when he turns the lights off. Did you notice the human-shaped silhouette in the room with him? And this isn't just a one-off event. Whatever this is follows him in each room he goes, and it's the same size silhouette there each time. Is this a stalker, a ghost, or both? Whatever the case may be, the question of is it following him can be answered, and that answer is a definite yes. I think it's time to get out of that home while there's still time. Be sure to check out Fourth Wall's channel, and they have English subtitles. It looks like zombies want to get out of bed every once in a while. Published to YouTube in October of 2011 by Underwater Ireland, this YouTuber sets out into a purportedly haunted graveyard in Ireland. The cemetery is innately creepy, with trees growing into steeple-like coverage as she enters. After exploring a bit, she sets up a camera to film overnight. What she manages to capture on film will send a chill down your spine. The gate opens in the middle of the night, no one is there. It doesn't appear to be windy. Then something flashes on the screen, it's hard to make out. As some in the comments point out, if you watch the clip in slow motion, you can see a ghostly demon face. It is quite clear if you manage to pause it at the right moment. Some say it looks like a skeletal hand, others a white orb spirit. What do you think it could be? Is this the zombie outbreak we've all been waiting for? Only one way to find out for sure. Jake Duffner is a YouTuber who took a 3 a.m. challenge that left him with a bizarre and unsettling problem he's not sure how to solve. One morning, his girlfriend Ashley woke up covered in random scratches, so Jake set up a camera over their bed and records the following night. This is what comes to visit them early in the morning. An unidentified man stands over the two of them as they sleep, although the stranger doesn't seem to cause them any harm. Jake is sure that this is the person who scratched Ashley the night before. Obviously, this video could have been staged, and the person dressed in all black could just be a friend of Jake's. However, you can still see the shape of the person's nose through their mask. Some of Jake's fans say that this person's nose doesn't look like it could belong to any of the channel's regulars. If this is true, then maybe this stalker really was a stranger after all. I will say that this video looks like it was shot during the daytime, which is a strong indication that it could be fake, or at least probably not a true 3 a.m. challenge. Either way, stalkers are somewhat common, and Jake does happen to be a popular YouTuber, so it would make sense for him to have an unwanted admirer. Let me know if you think someone is living in Jake. Devin Brosiv and his friend Brian find the creepy remains of a decrepit hairless doll in the woods one day. They want to take a video of the bizarre find, so Devin goes back to get his phone. When he returns a short time later, the doll is not in its original spot.
Brian, I found it. It's moved. Look. Oh my god, that thing is creepy.
Somehow the doll had become entangled under a thick pile of brush within the brief period of time that it took for them to get a phone and come back to the spot. The two friends record it for a bit and then leave. 2 days later, they get a random impulse to check on the doll again. A light snow now covers the forest floor, though they are confident that they can find the doll again easily. This time, in place of where the doll's head and body used to be, they find its missing leg. Either somebody has been ripping dolls apart and moving around the body parts all over the forest, which is creepy enough, or I guess this doll has been doing it on its own. Both are simply terrifying. This old VHS tape of a girl dancing is definitely paranormal, at least if you believe what the uploader Sharon Bailey has to say. First, an orb floats up towards the child between the 13 and 14 second mark. Shortly afterwards, a strange mist fills the air. Maybe it's something else, but I'm not sure because it seems to specifically wrap itself around the child. The last part is what has Sharon convinced that this is paranormal. She says that there were no other children in the house, but 31 seconds into the video, another little girl runs by at full speed. Her footsteps don't make a single sound. Take a listen. The camera was picking up little coughs and other background noise, so it definitely should have recorded running footsteps. Also, neither the dancing girl nor the dog seem to notice anyone is running straight towards them. Is this a party or on the roof? While in this first video, it looks like something just floating there. In the second video though, it's on the move.
Guys. Anjing. Itu apa anjing? Goblok. Ibu-ibu ngomong. Ibu-ibu. Anjing. Goblok ibu.
That's definitely a ghost in my opinion, and it's 500% creepy. Let's just hope this spirit was just looking to party. Are children still at play in this haunted orphanage? Extinct File explores this abandoned place, and it looks like someone is watching them. First, they hear the sound of children, which sends one of them running. Their EMF meter captures some energy near the stairs.
Mira, 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 mira.
Soon after, their radios go off.
El mío también.
Later, another reading puts them on edge. And while listening into the radio, they hear someone breathing.
No mames. ¿Qué pedo?
And then a voice. But it is this shocking evidence at the end that proves this place is truly haunted. Did you see that? Along with a strange groan, look at the doorway below. A shadow figure is watching. Who is this mysterious shadow? I think it's the spirit of a former orphan of this asylum. A YouTuber named Shanen Sarmi is excited to travel to California, but far less enthusiastic about her flight, specifically her window, which is not sitting in place and makes this unsettling noise.
Going through the window and I didn't tell anyone.
By the time she lands, the first of the 2 layers of glass has slid down enough to poke her finger through. It looks like she is sticking her hand out of the plane, but she actually isn't. There is one more layer of glass that is hard to see, but still, the thickness of the window is now halved. She notices something was wrong with her window during the flight, but did not tell anyone until the very end, not wanting to cause a panic. I see where she is coming from, and she might have just been too shy and scared to speak up, but I personally think she should have said something, because they might have needed to make an emergency landing to fix it. She was trying to keep everyone calm by not telling, but looking at the condition of the window, I think it could have put everyone's lives in danger, but above all else, I'm just glad that she and everyone else was okay. This channel follows the adventures of a man named Jesse and his girlfriend Gina. They are having a nice date in San Francisco when suddenly Gina gets the close call of a lifetime. She tries to blame Jesse for not telling her to move until the last second, but it's rather apparent that he helped save her in reality. She was not looking in the right direction, and this video could have easily turned into their last moments together. There's no doubt that she would have not pulled through such an event. We all know them, the people of Walmart. But it's not every day you run into one who starts screaming in your face. That's what happened to this man who pulled out his phone to record this man's erratic behavior. YouTuber Bake80 described what happened in his own words. Okay, so I wanted people to see how crazy this guy was. Excuse my language, but this guy was staring and following me in Walmart for about 20 minutes. This is when the uploader decided to record the unfolding event. Pretending to be on his phone, he filmed the man for about a full minute. The man was just standing across the way, watching Bake Sadie just as described. He does appear not to be in his right mind, as he turns to someone who isn't there and starts talking. Then the man walks up to Bakes and gets so close. The YouTuber wrote that his hat touched his face. This was why he told him to back off in harsh terms. He wanted the guy to know he was serious. The man responds to this threat by saying he's got all the cop cars in jail. When Bakes stands his ground, the man just starts screaming, "Don't threaten me," in his face repeatedly.
Don't threaten me!
Walk away.
Don't threaten me! Don't threaten me!
The people behind him stop dead in their tracks. Even this is too much for the people of Walmart. Then the man hurries away, but you can still hear him shouting, "Don't threaten me," in the background. He's captured again on camera, ranting and raving as he wanders through the checkout aisles, attempting to make his way out. A scary stranger encounter certainly, but also pretty bizarre. While most hospitals have some stories to tell, I'm guessing a World War II hospital has even more grisly ones on the docket. In this video, published by Subi in November of 2017, he and his friends explore an abandoned World War II hospital in Milton Keynes. For some reason, they chose the dead of night for their exploration, so straight off the mark, the hospital looks scary simply because it's cloaked in darkness. The only guiding light is the beam from Subi's flashlight. The crew enters in through a broken window. The pair have apparently been in the hospital before because one of them says he's not going down a certain direction because that's where they hear things all the time. At one point they stop to listen because they both say they've heard something. It isn't clear what they've heard, but they continue on regardless. It sounds as if there's loads of glass on the ground as they walk through the building, cracking and breaking the shards beneath their boots. While the hospital doesn't turn up anything truly mind-blowing, the idea that World War II patients were once brought here conjures up images of scary times, or maybe that's just my imagination. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but the only word to describe this one is fear, 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 fear. This photo, at first glance, appears to just be your average selfie, but zoom out and you'll see that the selfie girl isn't the only one in the picture. An apparition appears in the dark hallway behind her, looking very similar to the creepy girl from The Grudge. In a white shirt with long black hair dangling in front of her face, the figure is peering out in all her creepiness at the selfie in progress. Is she a predictor of misery to come? Or maybe Creepy Grudge Girl is just photobombing in the freakiest fashion ever. A TikToker named Prince of Stitches is about to go to sleep when this late night visitor takes over his spot. Moments before he lies down, the floating white smear somewhat resembles the arm and shoulder of someone sleeping on their side, perhaps someone who once passed away in this very same spot, or it could just be how the light from this mounted lamp is hitting the camera. There's a somewhat similar looking effect happening next to the lamp, shown here. Light artifacts aside, that still doesn't explain how the covers pulsate likely like the shallow breathing of someone deep asleep. Either he put something under the sheets to make them do that, exactly what I don't know, or it's time to check out and find a non-haunted hotel that won't make you room with a ghost. In this ghost investing collaboration, members of the Holy Walkers, Urban Ghost Urban Explorations, and 539 Productions team up to check out some abandoned properties in the woods at night. They are close friends, and so it becomes a lighthearted exploration full of laughs, but they do miss two things. One of them happens during a passing moment of silence.
You can see a Joe in his native environment.
I don't know what that is, but I do know it sounds large and close by, and during this exact moment appears two green eyes that look like they could be leaves at first, except they aren't touching the tree next to it, and they aren't pine needles like the rest. Believe it or not, this same face appears behind a screen window exactly 5 minutes and 10 seconds later, so I don't think they necessarily found a ghost, but something was probably out there with them, and if they ever return, they might be unlucky enough to find it again, and next time it might do more than just watch. Two women get on an elevator and strike up a friendly conversation with each other. They shuffle around a lot, and you can tell nothing is occupying the area behind them. Soon they get off the elevator and leave behind a child who is glowing bright white. The otherworldly aura looks like it was probably edited using special software. The way the child looks straight down is a somewhat outdated horror movie cliche. Both of these indicate that this video is most likely fake, but there's something about it that makes me feel it could be real. So I'd like to get the final confirmation from you. A ghost hunter doesn't even get his equipment fully set up before he detects a paranormal presence on camera. Look how quickly this shadow moves by. The shadow moves way too fast and also turns in the opposite direction as he does, meaning it can't belong to him. Here's the shadow from a second angle, this time taken from the handheld camera. Clearly, this shadow is caused by something off camera, but whether it's human or not is up for you to decide. Some kids, flashlights, a tunnel, and the darkness of night. These ingredients never fail to be a recipe for disaster. Published in December 2012 by Timothy L. Shebu, a group of kids decide to enter a sewer at night with nothing but flashlights to guide them. They should have expected what came next. They crawl into the depths of the tunnel, waiting for the creature to make himself known, but when it does, you wish it hadn't. The figure springs towards the boys and all mayhem breaks loose as the entire group tries to scurry out of the tunnel at once. When they do finally break free of the tunnel and its creature, a sigh of relief washes over them. Many viewers of this video feel the same way. The Potato Llamas wrote, "Reminds me of when there's a spider hiding under a rock, and the second you lift it, it runs at you. But what was this thing crawling deep in the tunnel?" Some think it was a monkey, judging by the noises the creature made, others special effects. I don't know what it is, but it's made me want to stay out of sewage tunnels at night, or at any time really. What is this toy doing in the center of this haunted building? You're about to find out. Originally posted to TikTok by Texas Ghost Hunters, this clip has me terrified. The ghost hunters are hearing noises all around them.
没有看错。
Now watch the toy at the center of the hallway.
我操！我操！我操！它是不是动了？啊！我操！
As the toy rolls toward them repeatedly, they start to panic, but when they are brave enough to get closer, they see that nothing is attached. I'm not sure how this toy would have moved other than by the hands of a malevolent spirit. I personally think this place is 100% haunted. Do you? Published in April 2017 by Steve Cody. This video allegedly shows a ghost haunting a swimming pool. In the description, Steve writes, "I noticed my camera picked up motion around my pool about a week ago. After midnight, I watched the whole video with my wife, and there's a ghost or something floating over the pool. He said it lingered there for several minutes. The video does in fact show a light floating over his dark swimming pool at night. It just hovers in the top right corner of the screen, bouncing back and forth a bit. So what is it? A luminous ghost? A ghost holding something luminous, whatever it is. Don't go in the water. A YouTuber named Seg goes into the woods and finds an old rotten house. He and his friends feel something watching them nearby and they both run away. As they are checking out the raw video a few minutes later to see what it was, this strange orange circle pays them a visit and hangs around the corner of the shot.
Mate, did I get it? Alright, would you go watch your footage back?
To be perfectly honest, this looks like it is almost definitely the cameraman's thumb, but Seg says the orange light is way too bright to be anything but the supernatural. He says that this is the only source of light, and therefore something behind the light should not be brighter than everything else in the shot. I'm not sure if I buy this theory, so I wanted to run it by you. Is this a ghostly presence or a ghost investigator's thumb? A YouTuber named Rifat claims that going to this haunted place in Palestine proved to be a psychological undoing. Let's see what was so scary in this paranormal exploration gone wrong. He seems to have trouble keeping his balance and stumbles backwards twice for no reason.
يا شباب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا شباب قلت أجرب الله يقطع شر يوم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
At this point, I think he realizes there's no way he should be falling 3 times in 5 minutes and thinks a ghost could be near. As he is trying to decide if this is really happening or just his imagination, some of the best paranormal EVP evidence ever recorded is caught on camera.
هذه قصة وأنا والله العظيم خايف يعني ممنوع في الليل عن جد ممنوع يعني نطلع هيك كمان إيه إيش هاد؟
Loud and scary screaming noises are coming from the woods. The screams of a human, most certainly not an animal.
يعني فهم من وين أطلع؟
He doesn't investigate the noise because this could be a spirit setting up a trap that he is too smart to fall for. I'm glad he didn't go any further. If he had gone any deeper into the forest to see what it was, then this scary video might not ever have been uploaded. I have a feeling that he narrowly avoided getting ambushed by some group of bandits or even something paranormal. Alarming CCTV footage from a home security system in India appears to depict rare paranormal activity haunting this man's home. Caught on camera is a malevolent paranormal entity that comes from under the stairs. The man doesn't know how to fight back as he is lifted into the air and taken against his will and presumably screaming for help. There should be more security videos to go along with it, but only one has been uploaded so far. If this is camera 2, then I want to see the paranormal evidence from camera 1. Otherwise, this could be fake. With that out of the way, what I find especially frightening is how, at 45 seconds, the dark matter appears to concentrate around his face and his waist, just like arms grabbing him from behind. Small details like that make me wonder if something scary really is haunting his home. I wish there were more videos to show us what happens next, but what do you think? Is this a real paranormal video? A bizarre video with little context has left people speculating what creepy things are happening here. At first, this looks like a woman going about her day, but rumor is that she is walking around taking things that could belong to the man on the bed, and that he might even be incapacitated in some way. Helpless to do anything but watch Frozen. I think there might be something to this because she grabs a device at 1 minute and 23 seconds and then an identical device at 1 minute and 40 seconds while possibly looking for cameras. Was all this stuff hers or not? Since these are rumors and speculation, we'll never know for sure. Vincenzo Man Pro has a problem in his backyard that won't go away. A creepy tree creature that he has been unable to identify before or since. It faces away at first, its broad back turned to him. At the 1 minute mark, it stretches its arms and legs and looks vaguely humanoid. Watch for yourself.
Oye, se está moviendo. Oh!
As time passes by, it seems to crouch into a hostile stance. Here it kind of looks like it's on all fours with its head held very low, quite similar to videos I've seen about the rake creature. I think that it could be a monkey if he lives anywhere near the equator. Its fur color is pretty strange for one though. The sun is setting, but the camera has no problem picking up its bluish-white hue in the low light. Then it fades away from sight, possibly hiding out of fear, but also possibly following this man. It remains silent the whole time, and the way it slinks away makes him wary enough to retreat inside.
Chiudiamo. No. Ma che cazzo è?
I don't know how much danger he was in just now, but I respect his decision not to stick around and find out. The origins of this video are mysterious, and the footage even more so. Published to YouTuber Chibonk182, the short clip is entitled Kuyang Dayak. The video shows what appears to be a beast human behind a cage. The creature seems to have an animalistic body, although no animal on Earth has ever looked like this. While its ghost white face is that of a human male's, with long shaggy brown hair. The face looks perturbed by chit-chatting of the onlookers, to say the least, but it just continues to lie there on the blue flowered sheet, its limbs moving slightly. Also known as the Krasu in Cambodian mythology, and Krasu in Laos, the Kuyang spirit is ubiquitous across the folklore of Southeast Asia. The figure appears with the head of a woman, with its internal organs trailing below her. Is that what it is meant to be? If not, then what in the world is it? A thing of myth and legend or not? This clip does one thing right, it makes you shudder in horror. This YouTube clip serves as video evidence of just how daring some people can be, or brave, if you look at it the other way. The footage is likely recorded in Russia's Far East, where a large population of bears roam free, bears that have been known to wander into residential areas. In the video, one of these bears has done just that. A big brown bear is seen pacing around an empty lot, while a Russian man just sits calmly on a bench, not making the faintest effort to move or protect himself. In fact, he seems completely unfazed by the wild animal just feet from him. Surprisingly, the wild bear seems more scared of the Russian than this man is of the bear. As the bear roams closer toward him, he suddenly darts away. Though the man never moves an inch, while most people would be shaking in their britches in an all-out panic when within sight of a bear, this Russian man doesn't flinch. Maybe we can learn something from him. If you should ever be unfortunate enough to encounter this wild animal, it's best not to panic. Just don't be as nonchalant as this guy. Ghost investigations are even scarier in another language. In this video posted to YouTube in December of 2018, ghost investigators attempt to infiltrate an abandoned house that we can only guess is haunted. At least it looks that way. While exploring the home, the investigator keeps hearing things moving, debris being unsettled, and from the way he's jerking his camera around, it seems he's sensing movements around him. What is in this home with him? The place appears as though someone just picked up and left. It's covered with debris and looks like it was abandoned in a state of chaos. While creeping around some upstairs room, the ghost investigators appear to sense someone or something, and that something grabs a hold of him. It's clear he's struggling with a force in the home. He tussles with it and for a moment is dragged backwards by the force before he escapes, racing out of there like his life depends on it, which it probably does. What is going on in this video? Is there any explanation as to what pulled this ghost investigator backwards? It certainly looks real to me. For fear of knowing, don't answer. After all, I don't think 99% of people could handle the answer.
어딨어? 자신 있으면 나와봐.
When your child is communicating with ghosts, you should listen. Posted to TikTok by PG Stories, this toddler seems to be communicating with the other side. The boy says goodnight to someone in the bathroom. When his mom goes to check it out, there's no one there.
Who are you saying goodnight to?
Him.
Who?
Him, good night.
Jagger, there's no one up there.
Him up there.
Show me.
Him up there.
He seems to be pointing to the vent. Is someone hiding up there? Is there a phantom in the vent? Or is it just the kid's wild imagination? I feel like this video left us with more questions than answers. Where's the spirit hiding? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Leonardo da Fuzzy. This ghost hunter is about to find out. After hearing noise in an adjacent room of this abandoned home, the ghost hunter ventures inside, and then this happens. Something is behind this locked door trying to get out.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق هذا كيف
The ghost hunter moves forward and pulls the door open, but there's nothing inside. He steps further in, and despite the fact that there's no one there, even more poltergeist activity happens.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Scaring him out of the room. He returns only for the same thing to happen again.
ايش هذا حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل
As many in the comments note, this video is from YouTuber Adventure Allah, and most agree that it's one of the most realistic hauntings they've seen. Is it real, or just all camera angles? Redditor Navin Person has another theory. They wrote, it's just the house settling. I think we can all agree that the other explanation is a tad more exciting. Is this an authentic electronic voice phenomenon caught on camera? Published by Massage ASMR in April of 2013. This video was filmed at a temple in Egypt in October of 2012. The YouTuber's friends shared this footage with Massage ASMR. The short clip appears to have captured a strange childlike sigh while on a temple tour.
guys over there, I know.
Blue light covers the golden star. And always
Sorry.
there should be a golden star. Golden star.
According to the uploader, there were no children on the tour, which consisted of mostly Australians and South Africans. The voice sounds very out of place, which is why they thought it might be an EVP, perhaps even speaking ancient Egyptian. Is Cleopatra trying to speak to us? What is her message to the modern world? Or is something else haunting this temple? The answer remains unclear for now. This isn't something you see every day. Posted to TikTok by Canada Wildlife, this trail cam captured a bear sighting in the wild. It shows one large black bear chasing another. They both shimmy their way up a tree with ease until the one being chased switches around to defend himself. All he needed to do was have the higher ground for the other to back down. Aside from the incredible speed of these two bears, their chatter with each other is surprising to most. While many in the comments are saying they guess they won't climb a tree to escape a bear, TikToker Patricia McWeenie writes, I would have expected some growling. Not whatever that was. Fair enough, I don't think any of us expected this. If you ever find yourself in the middle of nowhere at night, beware who or what else might be out there with you. Published in January of 2020, Junked Up Kitten asserts that a ritual had occurred in his yard of 20 acres in the Pikes Peak Wilderness area of Colorado. In the video, the man says he just got home and his wife left almost immediately for her night shift. He was playing some games on his computer when his dog started freaking out. That's when he started to hear a weird whistling coming from outside, so he dons his boots and other winter gear before heading out to investigate the matter, with his dog in the remote darkness, already courageous in my opinion. He walks out into the snow under a full moon, checks on his hens in their hen house, and also walks through his storage sheds. That's when he hears his dog barking like crazy.
Well, you got something?
He sets out in search of his dog to see what's got him all riled up and comes across a strange sight. chicken feet and a bone hanging from a tree by some orange twine. Off in the distance, he spots fire in the darkness, which he says looks like candlelight. Needless to say, this all freaks him out. He decides to investigate and starts walking towards the distant fire. Soon he comes across the ritualistic setting. Tarot cards are all laid out on the ground, surrounded by 5 votive candles, an unlit lantern, and a purple cloth bag. It seems that Ziggy the dog scared off whoever was out there. They left the place in a hurry, abandoning the ritual ceremony, tarot cards and all. So many questions remain. Who were these people? Why were they on the man's property in the first place? And what were they doing? Most importantly, what do the tarot cards read? Hopefully this man's property isn't now cursed. Ghost Tales published this video in 2013. The description reads, dog senses a ghost in the room. Captured on film is the ghost actually throwing the ball. The clip begins with a doll just staring into the living room. Then, all of a sudden, she starts barking. She retreats into the kitchen, where her owner stands filming the strange event. The dog heads slowly back into the living room, sniffing around. She creeps back in, lifting a leg tentatively as she peers out into the living room. There appears to be something draped on the table, and the dog starts barking towards it. The dog then picks up a ball it found on the floor, and then gets distracted by something else she found on the floor. Then she hears a noise that makes her spring and stare at the thing on the table again. She sniffs around it and is distracted again by the ball. Although the dog in this video does seem to be spooked by something, it doesn't appear as if the ball was thrown at it, as the author claims. But if you see it in this clip, let us know in the comments. It's 3 AM and a YouTuber by the name of KG Talik is ready to summon the spirit of Bloody Mary. He turns out the lights and calls for her, with nothing but a plastic hair pick on the counter to defend himself with. Upon the 3rd recitation of her forbidden name, he sees movement from the corner of his eye. Something on the other side slaps and scratches at the shower curtain and then promptly vanishes. He shows the bottom of the tub to prove it's really empty. It takes all of his courage to stay in the room and resume the ritual, but he doubles down and says her name 3 times again. This time she is even madder than before.
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.
The shower curtain rustles as if someone is waiting on the other side, but when he pulls it back, once again no one is to be found. A YouTuber named Bros Got Game is convinced that his local graveyard is haunted, but the only way to find out is to grab a friend and record there at 3 AM. They haven't even entered the main courtyard before they hear something approach.
But if you guys see anything that... What was that?
Smoke follows them throughout their exploration, even though there are no flames at any point in the video. After following a dirt path for a while, they come across a broken rope suspended from a gnarled old tree. It's pretty obvious to me that it must have snapped under someone's weight, though where they are is not clear. A short while later, one of them thinks they feel something grab their arm and quickly hurry out. Certainly a smart choice. Everyone is afraid of the boogeyman, but most people chalk him up to childhood nightmares. But what if the boogeyman is you? This video published to YouTube in February of 2009 by Dog4Man92. Once you see a reflection take on a life of its own, you'll wish this video never existed. The video at first appears normal, a man and his reflection more or less angled accurately in relation to each other. That is until this uncanny moment where the reflection turns. The look it gives its double is a bit more than unnerving. Seeing this video may make you be wary of your own reflection. As YouTuber Sophie Bell notes in the comments, the creepy thing is, unless you are looking at it, all you can see is yourself, so you never know if your reflection is looking back at you. The next time you gaze at yourself in the mirror, Don't you dare look away. Was this paranormal or a simple camera trick? Either one seems freaky to me. There's some terror to be had in this abandoned structure. Published by Terror Al Extremo, this paranormal explorer first encounters these creepy bats hanging upside down like untransformed vampires. The ambiance is set now, and it grows as the cameraman comes across this piece of artwork painted on a stone wall. Is this divining what will come? When he continues to explore the area, suddenly he hears a scream. This is accompanied by what sounds like a blast or some other loud noise. Who is screaming out in this remote wilderness? And what was the sound that followed? Which one of us volunteers to wait around and find out? When this early riser arrived at work at 6 a.m., she didn't expect to find her first customer waiting. Posted to TikTok by The Blaze Beauty, the worker exits the kitchen and enters the cafe area, revealing a figure standing just outside the front window. She walks toward it. At first, you can't tell if the figure is facing away from or toward the window, but as she steps closer, it looks like the figure is facing toward it, though you cannot see its face. The figure then slams the window with one gloved hand. What is this thing?
Bro. What? Oh, girl. Oh my.
And what does it even want? Many in the comments are shocked that she even approached. Others think he's harmless and just wants a burger. What do you think? It's the window slam that makes me feel like their intentions are nefarious. This house guest is eternal. Published by Jojo Owens in February of 2022. Jojo explains that he, his wife, and several guests in his home had witnessed a shadow-like movement in the living room out of the corner of their eyes. That's why when Owens heard a noise in the back room one night while his wife was sleeping, he set up his phone camera to record. This is what he captured. A tall, shadowy figure is seen moving across the lit doorway at the end of the room. After witnessing this, Owens grabbed his phone camera to investigate, but turned up nothing. Neither was there anything in the room that might cast this shadow. Although one commenter suggested that there may be someone squatting in the Owens home, Owens said this has been going on for 3 years, so it's highly unlikely. To whom does this shadow belong then? Filmed in what appears to be an abandoned house, this explorer is searching out the lie of the jinn. Published by Paranormal Maya in March of 2022, the cameraman tours the home in silence, when all of a sudden he starts hearing strange noises in the next room.
Çantamdaki olayı düzelteceğim, takır 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 takır.
He crouches down for a moment, waiting out the chaos. Then he approaches a previously empty room. Standing there is a mysterious cupboard set up with a mirror standing facing him. The man jumps back, wondering how this contraption could suddenly appear. He takes a step into the room, flashing his camera spotlight into the mirror. While standing there, he hears an EVP in Turkish that translates to "come from there." He kicks the mirror and the cardboard contraption over, stomping on it, and then pries a hanging horseshoe from the frame of the doorway. According to superstition, horseshoes hung over a doorway, with their ends facing down, means that good luck will spill over, stopping evil from entering. That doesn't appear to have worked in this case. When unexplained shadows fall, your only recourse is to search for an answer. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Sammy Sam 1870 writes, "It was 2:06 a.m. and there was no one walking around, nor were there any cars in sight when this mysterious shadow strolled across my security camera. The following day, I tried to figure out where it could have came from, but found no explanation. The security camera footage shows a black shadow cast upon the ground, moving across the screen. As the Redditor explained, nothing visible in the area is casting the shadow. So do we have a shadow figure on our hands, or is this just a bug caught at a weird angle? Well, light can certainly play tricks on us, and on a camera, things can get creepy. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Garno7 explains that he and some friends were hanging around their campfire near a lake, and one of them captured this on his phone. The clip shows a figure appearing to run from their group of people into the roaring flames. Watch as the camera pans from left to right. Can you see it? While many in the comments say the figure is nothing but a lens flare. A couple Redditors counter that argument. Redditor Patrick RS Ghost writes, "At first I thought it was some flare or something due to the transition from dark to light very quickly, but when I looked closer I could see something start to move within the crowd at around the 2-second mark, almost to the left of the little girl in the pink sweater, right as the camera starts to pan, and upon looking again, I can totally see what this Redditor is talking about. So now I think there's a good chance this could be paranormal, because when you take the time, it seems to sync up." This haunting just got a whole lot creepier. Posted by Raymond Powell to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor notes that this is an update on the disturbing happenings in his home. What are these happenings? The video shows some sort of pipe or tube on the counter start to roll one way and then the other. Next, a glass of water is seen disturbed slightly before being pushed clean off the edge. And lastly, a nearby recliner's footstool extends on its own. Many in the comments are completely creeped out by this clip. Miss Miley Moo wrote, "At the end, I turned the phone away for the last 10 seconds because I didn't trust it. I definitely wouldn't trust this ghost either." There's a face in the wall. Can you see it?
That face, you can see a face.
That's that.
The eyes are wide and black, and the face is a little more than a tiny frown. Then, after 1 minute and 5 seconds, I think I see a hand appear. They say it looks like the face of a girl, but the youngest daughter swears up and down that she had nothing to do with it.
She wasn't there last time. She never went. She never went, no.
And when, just for fun, they ask the face on the wall if it is the spirit of someone young or old, they get a weird response.
Put a light if you're a young girl.
So is this really a spirit, or just an imprint left behind of a child who stuck their face against a dirty wall? A YouTuber named Tommy Case is in the basement of an abandoned house when his flashlight crosses over someone wearing an all black and white stretched out face mask. Tommy Case runs away, but soon he has to turn his flashlight back on if he ever hopes to find the exit. Instead, he finds the same person again, but this time he manages to escape without looking back. Since the person just stands there and never reaches out for him, I think this is almost definitely a skit, but a well done one all the same. Salem, Massachusetts is considered to be one of the most haunted places in all of the United States due to its lengthy history of hunting witches and the foul spirits they bring. This ghost sighting was posted on Twitter by none other than the mayor of Salem. Eerie is how she describes it. A ghostly face with a furrowed brow and chiseled nose stares back at the mayor with a stern frown. I don't know if this lamppost is of historical significance, but it definitely seems to have become imbued with a spirit of some sort over the years. I doubt the mayor was doing this for attention, since she is already a high-ranking public official and gets enough of that already. If anything, the fact that she is willing to put her political career on the line by claiming that spirits are real shows how much she believes in what she saw. A YouTuber in Belgium has a ghost in the window, and when I say in the window, I mean literally.
This is my window. Strange. Go away. What is it? Go away. Spirit.
He's not running his finger up the blinds because there's a heavy curtain in front of it. So tell me if you think a ghost is moving objects like he says.
No way.
Considering this is the only paranormal video he has, and the rest of his channel is about nothing but guitars, I think it could be real. This video of a speedy silhouette looks like it has to be in fast forward, but as the timestamp shows, it somehow manages to cross the room in less than 1 second. I can only assume that this shadow person has been seen at least once before, hence the bedside camera. Notice how all of its features remain blacked out despite there being plenty of natural light. What's particularly worrisome is how it clears the room in an instant, and then comes back into the frame to linger by their bedpost some more. Apparently the two seem to share a mutual fascination. A YouTuber named Blake Smith's Gaming Blitz lives alone, and often hears wearing sobs in his basement. He says that he is way too strapped for cash to afford a Bluetooth speaker, and that this is real. Take a listen for yourself. At 57 seconds into the video, the spirit seems to respond to his voice.
Hello? Hello?
He pokes around the corner, and sitting in the far corner of the room is a tiny entity made of light that kind of resembles a small child. I took a screenshot to better illustrate what I'm saying. The shape looks roughly symmetrical, and the head is looking directly at the camera.
Alright, just like a quick check-in. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's doing it.
A TikTok video made by Kristen Parham has people wondering if she needs to call an exorcist or an electrician.
I'm not making this up. They're flickering again.
Some of the lights look brighter and flicker. It could be loose light bulbs rather than the spirit world, but the weird thing is sometimes they do this, sometimes they don't. If you are an electrician, then let us know in your professional opinion whether she's being dramatic or if the worst is yet to come. Something in this pizzeria has had enough. Posted to TikTok by Flaming Belladonna 3. This short clip shows what happens when you anger the pizza gods. The clip shows several workers standing around in the kitchen. On a pizza belt to the right, a pizza flipper and a slicer are sitting on the top belt. As the girls chat, the slicer suddenly shoots off the shelf and knocks one of them in the head. How in the world could this happen? Some think the workers angered a ghost by putting pineapple on the pizza. Others, like Jonathan Zwar, suggest that the slicer was on the conveyor and probably was pushing against the metal lip, causing it to be propelled when the tension released. Many in the comments, however, would rather focus on the danger of that slicer. The 509 Grim Knight writes, "That could have easily been in Final Destination." So now that all the facts are in, what do you think? Is this an angry pizza ghost or an angry conveyor belt? A diving instructor named McFear 1991 notices a giant underwater sea creature slither up to some students under his watch. Their backs are turned and there's no way to scream or otherwise let them know, so the brave diver does what he has to do. He grabs the snake to make it change course. It takes one look back and seeks shelter under a rock. What he calls an awesome sea snake encounter, to me, would be nothing short of downright terrifying. I'm especially interested to know if this is an olive sea snake like he says. If so, Google says they are known to approach divers with curiosity and that they rarely do anything to them, but when they do, it does not go well. Not what you'd want to surprise you from behind with no gloves. Oh yeah, and one more scary thing. He calls this thing a juvenile in the description. If that's not considered full grown, then I can't imagine how big these snakes must get. This TikTok user has no dancing or lip syncing, just a creepy room with whispering voices on the other end of a white door with no knob. The lack of a knob does not stop some force from opening and closing the door. The door is fully shut and you can even hear the latch unclick here. Finally, with absolutely no edits or cuts, the person recording gets up to reveal a small closet with just clothes inside. This man, known as the Buddy, was one of the most popular users on the TikTok community. His dances were funny at first, but as he gained popularity, the videos became kind of more, well, I guess bold would be one word you could use. According to unverified rumors, the following video was allegedly sent to someone who is not of age. Watch this and tell me if you think this is an appropriate way to use TikTok, because I definitely do not.
I mean, you're the cute one here, not me, so...
He was reportedly banned for life from the TikTok community for violating their terms of service, but apparently he still has active accounts on other platforms. A YouTuber named Stromedy takes a drone above a gigantic field and finds 3 people in long black robes gathered around a small object on the floor, possibly a book or an offering of some kind. Here you can see the square object again, though it's now gray for some reason instead of black like before. They throw it to the ground and begin to circle around it in what could be a second phase of the ritual, probably chanting the whole while too, I would imagine. And I don't know if this is a reflection of the sun or what, but at 13 minutes and 7 seconds this eerie red light washes over them all. Stromedy loses control over the drone as soon as it is spotted by them. Now you can see they are all wearing white masks. One of the members, the only one with a hood over his head, and possibly the leader, reaches up. The drone obediently flies closer, despite Stromedy holding the opposite direction on the controls. The leader releases control of the drone and hastily picks up the square object. Then they retreat to 3 corners and form a mysterious triangle, backs turned. Should anyone recognize this ritual, please let me know what it all means, because it's got me freaking out. Isaac Brumeghem feels a bite on his line and pulls up something larger than he ever imagined.
Whoa!
It looks like he hooked the shark, but when you watch it again, you'll see the shark was actually going after a much smaller fish. Isaac quickly unhooks and releases the fish before the shark has the chance for a second go. Isaac is so incredibly lucky that the line was behind him and not close to the kayak, otherwise this shark could have practically landed in his lap. A group of friends see a stranger leave the woods in a hurry. They think it's odd and make a video.
Andy caught someone coming out of the tunnel. Pretty creepy, pretty scary. So.
Oh, bro, what's that smell?
Oh, it's rank.
Can you smell that?
Guys, there's literally flies all over the place.
Oh, bro, could you smell that? That stinks, bro.
Oh, nasty, man.
In the tunnel, they find a white sheet covered in red with a very distinct human outline underneath, and this is their reaction.
That stinks. Man, that was grim. Hey, we need to ring the police.
Crazy as anything.
Having this happen would be really scary.
We need to ring the police.
What?
We need to ring the police.
Have you got a phone?
No, I've not got a phone. Have you got one? Hey, can I have police, please?
One minute you're hanging out with your friends, and the next moment you're all suspects.
Yeah, I've just been exploring with mate, and we've just found a body.
Amy Admin wonders if an actual apparition was caught on home security camera haunting her place. Her strange sighting happened at 7 in the morning. A vaguely human-shaped figure walks to the curb and mysteriously disappears. Some scary stuff is going on across the street from her house, or is it? Perhaps it is a reflection of a car hitting the brakes. The alleged apparition does seem to come and go with the appearance of a car. The only problem with this theory is that there's nothing here for the brake lights to reflect off of. Maybe a piece of glass on the ground or something. So what's been caught on tape, paranormal activity, or a trick of light? I don't know, and now I'm as creeped out as Amy Admin is. After a series of unexpected passings in his family, YouTuber Slightly Scared 2012 experienced this. Do you see a face in the fabric? The YouTuber believes it's his departed cousin's face. The cousin in question passed away, falling from a highway overpass, and within hours, this face appeared on the seat of the chair while the YouTuber was sitting in it. I wish we had a picture of his cousin to compare, but nevertheless, I definitely see a face here, but whether it's pareidolia or not is the big question. When you're searching for ghosts, you may just find them. Published in August of 2019 by YouTuber Alex Paranormal, he writes, "Me and a friend went back to a known haunted location. This haunted location, as Alex adds in the comments section, is an abandoned restaurant and vineyard in the countryside of Hampshire, England. Using ghost tracking tools, they do appear to sense some paranormal presence in the room. For one, the temperature drops. For another, the spirit box seems to be capturing some communication, as those in the comments note. But it's at 16 minutes 50 seconds where your nightmare begins."
You hear that? What's up?
You can see a shadow figure move past in the archway right before the group heads into the kitchen. To whom does this shadow belong? Is it an evil entity of some kind? Don't know about you, but I wouldn't stick around long enough to find out. Vadim Vadimich is a Russian YouTuber who often explores the radioactive remains of Chernobyl, an abandoned power plant that went into meltdown during the 1980s. On this journey, he and his friends find an abandoned daycare center that seems quite haunted. One of the first things they find are two dolls. One is headless and the other has poked-in eyes, shaded black all around, as if someone was pressing down aggressively hard as they scribbled. It's not a welcoming sign, but could just be the work of some edgy teens, or maybe even someone in their own group, so they press on. Across from the dolls is this picture of a Russian team all huddled around a strange object in the center. I don't know what this is in the middle, so someone help me out because it might be a clue. I assume this was a picture of the kids who used to come here before the meltdown. Who knows how many, if any, actually made it to adulthood due to the radioactive exposure. Immediately behind the photo is a creepy old picture of a Russian woman in full uniform crying. I don't understand the significance of this picture, but I feel like they are saying something important here, so translate this part from Russian to English if you can.
Сколько его не убирали, смотри, в этом. Офигеть. Здесь уже люди сколько не были.
After a while, it becomes apparent that they are all being watched. These white eyes first appear on the other side of a window at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I thought it was just his light, until I realized the light is hitting his chest and shouldn't be visible behind him at all. And here at 3 minutes and 52 seconds, the eyes appear again in a doorway, much closer. It's just for a split second, but I mean, whose flashlight looks like that? Nobody's that I know. Those look like eyes for sure, glowing ones at that. They come across a portion of building they've explored before, but this time the door is partially opened, so they cautiously step inside. The first thing I noticed were these floating eyes at 7 minutes and 56 seconds. They look exactly the same size and shape as the ones before, but what they saw was the top of someone's head, someone incredibly tall and standing totally still. Standing motionless is a figure with a blacked out face and long white garbs. They run away and soon encounter it again. Its white clothes somewhat resemble the doll clothes we saw earlier. Could that have been a warning? When it gets close to them, it seems shorter than before, but impossibly broad-shouldered and powerful looking. I don't know why they let it get this close, but I guess they were frozen in place from fear and tired from running. I hope this was just a mannequin or something, but when it does this, I know it's far from a prop.
Да, Вадим, уйди назад.
The group retreats back inside, and now cornered eventually resorts to smashing through a window and takes a risk climbing through broken glass just to get away from whatever they just saw. So I think it's real. As it turns out, nostalgia isn't always a good thing. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hey There, You Are Okay, the Redditor explains, so I was going through my old 3DS photos for nostalgia. The reason why I'm posting on this sub is because I'm not for sure if I caught anything in the background. Do you think it's younger me being scared? The video clip shows an empty bedroom. As he starts to scan the room, the video captures a dark room beyond. It's hard to tell if there's a window in that room. However, something appears to move there, or at least a shadow is cast that mimics movements. The camera passes upward to the ceiling, and when it returns to the closet, the shadow and light has changed a bit, but it's the next time the camera pans from one side to the other that the real change occurs. Explain these unknowable shadows. What is going on here? Is there something or someone in that room? No wonder the Redditor was freaked out. Number 1. A YouTuber named Chris Lamb says that he was all alone when he shot this drone footage at Fort McClellan, Alabama, but the video says otherwise. You can clearly see that nobody is in the background at the beginning. But when Chris steadies the camera just a moment later, you can see someone standing by the street lamp. There's not enough time for anyone to walk out from behind a building, but yet here they are. Also, did you see how they seem to suddenly disappear in plain sight? I don't see any editing cuts, so I have absolutely no idea how this dark silhouette managed to vanish like that. Look again and you can definitely see them dematerialize. There's nothing wide enough for them to hide behind. They're just gone. Let me know if you think Chris Lamb's video is paranormal, extraterrestrial, or otherwise. This car is making its way down the BKE Expressway in Singapore when it manages to catch the split-second image of what could be a paranormal hitchhiker searching for its next ride. The ghostly presence looks too tall to be a normal human being, and its limbs look too long as well. Though I guess this stretched appearance could be an optical illusion from being captured at a high rate of speed. Some people even say it looks like they are floating. I want to hear your opinion, so let me know if you agree. Muna Bruzan bought this strange and creepy doll at an antique sale after she felt its eyes watching her. Now the doll apparently continues to do so as their connection grows stronger over time. Here you can see her pick up the doll to admire her. When the doll apparently comes to life, you can hear Muna cry out in surprise as the doll turns towards her and flutters its eyes. I have no idea how this could have happened, since both of her hands are nowhere near the doll's head when it turns to face her. When she puts the doll back down, it seems to understand that she is done playing and thoughtfully turns its gaze outside the window. Earl Kirkendall captures a bright light in the sky, but it's not a meteor, lightning, or an unidentified flying device. It's his poor neighbor's house erupting. This video is terrifying because of how calm everything is before, during, and after. There's no warning signs beforehand, and seconds later, you'd never know a family's entire livelihood has gone up in flames. Even scarier, a cause for the incident has yet to be determined, meaning anyone in the neighborhood could be next. A Canadian YouTube channel called The Soul Catcher suspects that this clown doll from Ontario feeds off the energy of the living, so they perform this experiment to see what paranormal activity they can catch on camera. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. The clown's arm moves by itself as soon as the clock strikes 3 a.m. I suppose it wouldn't be too hard to set a clock to 2:59. Wait a minute, and then move the clown's arm with some fishing wire. So while this doesn't completely prove the doll is possessed, it's definitely strange. In this second experiment, the YouTuber removes the haunted clown doll's hat and places it on his knee. After 20 minutes, this happens. It looks like the clown is reaching for his hat, however his arms sound heavy enough that it could have been positioned in such a way to fall over time. The YouTuber wants to know why the other arm didn't fall, and to answer his question, I think it's been positioned so that the hand is more in the middle. So while these two experiments are not conclusive, that he may have had a haunted doll on his hands, and I encourage you to check out the rest of his experiments on his channel. This video captures a total stranger on a bridge waving hello to rush hour traffic in a full clown outfit. A stranger waving to no one in particular is creepy enough, but take a look at its arm. Maybe it's just the angle, but the arm seems way too long and thin to belong to any person. Slow it down at the 15-second mark, and you can see the forearm alone looks to be the same length as a normal person's entire arm. Two co-workers at a radio station are hearing really strange noises from the basement and want to investigate. They recently heard that a nearby building was haunted and decided to see if the paranormal activity was spreading to their area. The woman in this video says that she went downstairs to get some water and heard these really strange noises.
Can you hear it?
I don't know if you guys can hear that. I can hear it.
It sounds like screaming.
Yeah, it sounds like there's like screaming coming from the pipes.
Or like growling or something weird.
They are talking about how old the building is as they walk down an old stairway to the basement entrance. The noise is growing louder the entire time. They take a deep breath and head to the final stretch of their journey. Eventually, they come across a rather ominous sign.
If you've ever seen a horror movie, you see this sign and obviously you don't keep out, you go in.
No, you don't! You stay out!
The person filming bravely walks in and the video ends. We'll never know if this was a paranormal entity or just common boiler room problems. Imagine being alone in your house when a toy starts speaking over and over again, like someone is rapidly pressing its button. That's exactly what happened one day to a YouTuber named Melinda Wolf Miller with her child's Mickey Mouse toy. She bravely took out her phone and started recording. The toy makes some low noises at first, but once she says something about it, it apparently becomes very aggressive and starts growling in response.
Something is in the toy box is possessed.
It almost sounds like the toy is saying somebody in between snarling. I don't think that the two toys on top of Mickey Mouse are heavy enough to activate the bottom, so I'm honestly not sure what's happening here. This Ghost is Hungry, published by Pilot Error Podcast in December of 2020. This woman was finally able to capture on camera what had apparently been happening for a while. After hearing a noise in the kitchen, she grabs her camera and waits. That's when she sees this. The cupboard is opening just a little bit at first, then it opens a little wider, and then, instead of running away from the spirit, this woman runs toward it.
All open.
And once in the kitchen, things get worse. Is this poltergeist just inviting everyone to dinner? And will you attend? Should be an interesting enough meal. I don't know if this episode of CK Taylor's show is more odd or terrifying. Today's item on the menu is gooey duck, which is an oversized clam, not a duck, though it does look extraordinarily gooey. Forget about the appearance for 1 second and let me ask you this. Would you be able to eat anything that sounds like a hissing balloon?
เราจะมาลองชิมกันเป็นคือมันยังเป็นอยู่นะคะ
It doesn't get any prettier or less odd looking when you remove the first layer of skin. If anything, it just looks twice as terrifying as before. And when CK Taylor cracks open the shell, the rest of its body looks like some kind of tumor. This is what it looks like when it's fully prepared, which I will admit looks more like a regular piece of seafood, but still like something from another dimension. So that's a hard pass from me. To be fair, I'm sure CK Taylor is an excellent chef, and her husband says it tastes good when he tries it.
It tastes good, right?
No. Would you be brave enough to take a bite? This video was taken at a famous car race in France called the Citroën Rally. A police officer is keeping the peace when he makes the mistake of not looking both ways before crossing the road. His carelessness nearly gets him annihilated when one of the contestants comes rushing around the bend. The officer puts his arms out at the last second, but this would have done absolutely nothing to save him. That papery smacking sound you hear is the back of his vest actually making contact with the car. Amazingly, the police officer brushes off the event like it's no big deal, and the crowd barely has a reaction either. Maybe they've grown accustomed to close calls. A YouTuber named Chris Javier is making a random vlog around his neighborhood late at night when he gets the weird feeling that he's not alone. Moments later, the streetlight he's standing by goes off and on by itself, which he says it has never done before. He thinks it might just be his imagination, so he decides to further test the situation by directly communicating with whatever is controlling the light, which seems to respond more than once. Here's the first time.
What the heck is going on?
And then the streetlight seems to taunt him even as he walks away. Was this a coincidence, or is there no possible way?
Now it's not even turning off. As soon as I just said something about it, it turns off.
A short while later, Chris sees a disheveled figure walk out from the back alley where he was just standing. They seem totally out of it and speak aggressively to an imaginary person in front of them. At this point, Chris decides to get out of there because it's early in the morning and no one else is around. But to his surprise, the stranger soon follows. The person then abruptly returns to the back alley from where they came and begins to shudder under the same streetlight that was acting weird earlier. They seem drawn to this area and they start swinging their arms wildly in a circle, totally forgetting about Chris as he films the scene for a while longer and then gets away, between the lights seemingly responding to Chris's voice and a man randomly appearing from an empty back alley moments later. There just seems to be too many coincidences in this video to deny the paranormal could have been at work that night. Robin Adri is the name of a YouTube channel with an interesting Ouija board experiment at 3 a.m.
Is there any spirits out here that would like to contact us?
They try to get the ghost to spell its name, but the session gets off to a bad start after they complain about how slow the ghost is at spelling. This seems to aggravate the spirit, and it asks to speak with Rob's twin brother Steven by spelling its name over and over again. The spirit goes on to profess that it does not have good intentions for his brother Steve.
Do you want to hurt Steven?
After a while, the Ouija board stops spelling Steven long enough to spell out Zozo instead. They eventually end the session properly, and even get assured that they will be left alone in the future.
You said that you will not haunt us, right? Thank you so much, we really appreciate it.
But it seems as though Zozo may have been luring them into a false sense of security. As they are leaving, they see a rattlesnake nearby, and it seems to be paying special attention to Steven. Rob and Adri are convinced that Zozo was sending them a warning sign in the form of a serpent, but I think this could also just be a coincidence. Let me know what you think. Here's another strange sewer grate video that's worth mentioning. Huh? I have no idea what is making these high-pitched noises, and apparently neither does this person. The bleeding quiets down and then starts up again. Everything from toads to alarm systems have been proposed, but I have never heard an alarm system that makes that noise, or any other piece of equipment on Earth for that matter. If whatever is making that noise is alive, then I hope they are not suffering. One creepy video shows us nature can be just as cruel underwater as it is above ground. A YouTuber named Trendy Outdoorsman is exploring the ice with his brother when they look down and find a really bizarre sight. A frozen bass is somehow sticking half out of the pond. They post a picture online, and after getting a huge response, the two return to the spot to make a video. When they carve it out, their discovery gets even weirder. The fish is trapped in the jaws of a large pike. Trendy outdoorsman thinks the pike couldn't eat the bass and floated to the top. From there, it must have floated through an old ice fishing hole, which then resealed. I have no alternative explanation, so I agree with this theory, but I was wondering if there were any other theories as to what could have caused this freaky frozen fish incident to occur. The roads in Guwahati, India are apparently haunted. Just ask Abhinash Kishore, aka the Mind Hunter. He pulls up behind a vehicle with an extreme background story that I'll get into in just a second. First, try to translate what he says about this truck, and then I'll tell you what I was able to research.
Guys, ঘুৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে ভূত বিচাৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে এইখন সন্মুখত কি গাড়ী দেখা পাইছে নে? ৰব ভালকে দেখুৱাই দি আছো। গাড়ীখন অলপ আগুৱাই দিয়া।
Okay, so get this. I did some deep digging and found out that this truck is actually the only hearse service offered in the area. Before this company came to be, people used to carry the departed to the nearest graveyard. As an extra bonus, on this blog post, I found information on 3 extremely creepy but also saddening comments requesting the service as soon as possible. That means within this metal container could be someone passed away, so when he finds not 1, but 2 of these vehicles lined up in the middle of nowhere, he knows that something really bad must have happened, and he better not stick around for long. Unfortunately for him, the time to leave safely has already passed.
Stop.
The Mindhunter's assistant gets scared and drives off, but the Mindhunter will have none of it and makes him return. There is another brief sighting until the figure fades away into darkness. This alleged ghost sighting caught on video could simply be a third member of the group, but since it happens not far from where they found the abandoned vehicles that could have had passed away people inside, it could be real. The Goat Man is a thing of urban legend. Something like a centaur, the goat-human hybrid is said to take refuge in the woods. Some say it's responsible for many missing dogs. Published by Hype Mike in March of 2021, this paranormal crew is in search of the mythical creature in Goatman Forest. Half of them rush back to the cabin after hearing something out in the forest behind them, as the other half continue on.
Ginormous crack or something behind us, and we ran back to the cabin.
Wait, what?
Something cracked right behind us, a huge tree or something, and we ran back to the cabin.
They find red liquid in the snow, and I think we can all imagine what it might be. Did some animals have a scuffle, or was it something else? After being scared off by the roaring, the crew comes upon some even more scary evidence that something's gone wrong.
Yo, get back. Just go.
This doesn't look like an animal's doing. Was it some ritualistic sacrifice?
I mean, I guess. Like, there's like blood on the tree and shit. Ew, what the heck?
Deeper in the forest, they hear this spine-tingling howl.
Hello?
Repeat that?
Did you hear that?
And once they gather together again, they realize an axe has gone missing. Did the Goat Man take it? The crew decides to invite the Goat Man to the party with this chant, and they really shouldn't have.
Okay, ready?
Ready?
Goat man, we offer our blood to you. Please accept and show yourself to me.
Is that it?
Later, while they're chilling at the cabin, one of the crew hears something.
I hear something really freaking creepy, and I just need to know if you guys can hear that.
No, well, I didn't hear anything. What do you mean, hear something? Well, we're inside.
We do not hear anything, over.
Then they see something outside. What is it? Although I'd wager it being the Goat Man, we currently don't know for sure. What is it like to have a bad encounter with a demon? You're about to find out. Published by Dark Life in December of 2021, this ghost hunter is thrown from above and not so politely asks why he came. When he asks who she is, she responds, and when he later asks that she state her name, her real voice comes out.
Я человек. А ты кто?
Later, when no one is answering him, he hears a noise coming from the next room, and that something appears to get aggressive with him, pulling him to the ground. That's when his battery runs out. Did he make it out alive? Well, this video did make its way online, but let's say only the demon knows for sure. This stranger in a hockey jersey demands entry. Would you let him in?
Let me in.
Published by Sam Maloney in May of 2022, this Ring doorbell camera captured this man's attempted entry on video. After being dropped off by a white car that drives away, the man walks up the stairs and rings the doorbell a couple of times. He speaks in a strange, froggy voice. He continues to growl at the door.
Let me in. Let me in.
Alexa then asks him what his intentions are, and he responds,
Let me in.
This is Alexa. What is the purpose of the visit?
I require entry.
After demanding entry, the man disappears from the camera's sight, but it's not clear where he went. He didn't retreat down the front stairs. Did he find a way in through the door or a window? You and me are left with more questions than answers. Here's even more reason to not build your house too close to the ocean. Posted to Twitter by @CapeHatteras NPS, an unoccupied house was captured on video collapsing into the sea off Rodenthade, North Carolina in early May of this year. The footage shows the two-story house on stilts, standing precariously near the aggressive waves as the wind whips through. Then its front stilts give way, collapsing the house head first into the sea. It lands flat and is pulled out to sea for a moment by the tide, but the waves quickly push it back in. After a while, it comes to a standstill on the shore, looking shoddy and dilapidated. Reports say that this is the second unoccupied house to collapse on this day at Cape Hatteras. This is not a good day for those homeowners. If you have a fear of heights, you might want to step away slowly from the edge of this video. El Camino del Rey, or the King's Little Path, is a high walkway in Spain that traverses a narrow gorge in El Charro near Malaga. Originally built to allow workers at a nearby hydroelectric power plant to transport materials, the walkway was first constructed at the turn of the 20th century. 3 feet in width and 330 feet above the river below, the walkway twists and turns around the steep walls of the gorge in a way that will make your head spin. It has been partially closed for more than 10 years after it fell into disrepair. In fact, it was once called the world's most dangerous walkway, as 5 passings occurred. Across only 2 years, renovations allowed the walkway to be reopened in 2015. Going back to the original, by 2006 much of the path had deteriorated. Several sections of the original concrete had completely collapsed, leaving large open gaps only traversable by the steel beams. The handrails were pretty much non-existent, with only a safety wire in its steed. Regardless, Daredevil still walked the King's Path, and passings occurred regularly. Published in March of 2011 by AM, this video shows what it was like to walk the King's Path when it was in disrepair. The crumbling concrete stairs are guarded only by a short length of handrail. As the hiker makes his way upward, you can see the drop below is no joke. A single misplaced step can throw you hundreds of feet to your demise. Despite the risk, you can see why people put themselves in harm's way. The solitude surrounded by the glittering river below and the jagged rocks of the gorge is an experience worth having, not to mention the adrenaline rush of being a misstep away from passing on. Still, if your heart is pounding just by watching this video, I wouldn't recommend it. I certainly wouldn't do it either. A YouTuber named Jack Williams is hanging out in the basement with his friends when the radio on the top floor comes on at full volume. They stand outside of the house for a while and then decide to go back inside.
Oh God.
Where's it coming from?
My parents' room.
All of them rush inside at once. Soon they start to think it could just be the radio somehow messing up and turning on by itself, but one of them isn't so sure.
I swear to God I heard something in there. I swear.
They spend some time checking under the bed and other areas, but there's just one place they didn't check thoroughly enough. Maybe it's just me, but this large pile of blankets seems to have a suspiciously human-shaped lump in the middle. Take a look at this part and let me know if you think the person could have been hiding in there or not. A man is driving down a haunted road in Hawaii when he sees a pale beige orb on the left side of his camera.
No idea what that is on my screen. It looks like a ball of light on the left.
I thought it was just his finger until I realized it was semi-transparent and slightly changing shape.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I have no clue. There's nothing there.
Watch this part and you'll see there's no way that this is his thumb. His passenger points at something on the side of the right, and their hand actually appears in front of the orb. The weird circle continues to hover in the corner for a full 3 minutes. It does not fade or go away even when they pull over, turn off the lights, and step out of the car into darkness.
It's still there. It's moving. It's still on the left. And I don't know what that...
If you have any idea how an orb could stay so plainly visible even without a light source, then let me know because I am honestly stumped. Two friends look out the window and see a mysterious figure dressed in all white, roaming the graveyard without shoes. She has her head down and pays absolutely no attention to them, even as they call out to her.
Hey, what you doing, girl?
Yo, that is creepy as...
What the
What happened?
What the is she doing?
Why is she touching other people's graves?
Finally, she starts to walk towards them, and they quiet down. One of the friends quickly points out that now she knows where they live. He screams out the window that she's scaring him, and she walks away, still completely lost in her own world. Here's where things get even more weird. She heads to the back of the graveyard, spins around a few times, and then disappears behind a tall gravestone.
I'm holding this camera until she come out from behind that tombstone.
Yo, she's not coming back.
She's gone. Where the f did she go? We watched her walk behind the tombstone and she's gone.
They think that she has vanished, but I think she could have just been sitting down on the other side. The two friends say that they kept filming for a long time and never saw her again, so maybe she really did disappear. Still, it's hard to tell if this was a genuine spirit or just someone with a morbid attraction to graveyards. A YouTuber named CGA is with her family at a Disney theme park when they decide to turn around and take a quick group video. This split-second decision is all it takes for something bad to happen.
Ay, Mafi, creo que me pasé.
One member of the family is standing way too close to the parade float, and the camera catches everything that happens next. It looks like the girl simply loses her balance, but what you can't see is a large wheel going over both her feet. According to the description of this video, the family was forced to pay for medical expenses out of pocket, even though they say that no barrier was in place to prevent this from happening. They also claim that the employees kept walking by as if nothing happened, but we'll never know for sure because the video ends shortly after the incident occurs. A Spanish-speaking YouTube channel called Fearless Omar Crew pairs up with Ricky Velasquez to track down what they are calling the most cursed witch in the world. Silently watching from within a hideout in the middle of the woods is a dark figure. Their high-powered survival flashlight does nothing to brighten its face, even when shined directly in the window. They should run away screaming for help then and there because, I mean, nobody wants to get a curse after all. But the group decides to go on the offensive and confront whoever or whatever is inside. Waiting for them is this creepy doll pointing their way. Again, running away and getting help seems like the smartest possible option at this point, but they instead walk around while actually holding the doll, checking every hiding spot possible. Then they hear this disembodied voice in an area that they just looked in moments before.
¿Quién eres?
I think it might be the witch taunting them further. Perhaps the doll was not pointing at them earlier, but rather at someone behind them. Anyway, as they are trying to make sense of the situation, this noise scatters their thoughts. If you speak Spanish, please give us a rundown on their conversation before this happens, as well as their reaction after.
Es que si oigo mejor. Luego cuando estoy agarrando el celular me pongo una, pero ahorita si me puedo poner las dos.
That absolutely sounded like a cackle of a witch taking enjoyment in their fear, or at least a woman who lost her mind long ago. Maybe whoever was laughing was also placing a powerful curse on them both, one that I hope does not extend to me and you. So there's a YouTube channel called EB30X Fitness. 34 videos, 1-year-old account, not exactly the first place you'd go looking for paranormal content, but there's one creepy workout video they can't explain.
5, 6, 7. Did anybody see that orb fly behind Karen?
Aura.
Anybody see that orb?
A wavy light goes over his client, and he puts everything on hold to point it out. Honestly, it looks like a bug to me. He says it's a ghost caught on film though. I don't think they're doing this for publicity. It has less than 1,000 views, and their fitness studio Facebook page in Illinois already has 300,000 followers, so I think he's being sincere when he says it's a ghost orb. What do you think about this paranormal activity? It's pretty creepy, but like I said, maybe a bug.
And I always look up to the sky and I always say, "Hi, Dad."
That's how a YouTuber named Jennifer Moen5 pays her respects to her dad, who has since passed on. Then one day it looks like her father says hello back to her and her family.
Oh boy.
You can see a shimmering orb rise and fall to the ground as soon as she says hi to her father. I wanted to add that this is the only paranormal video on Jennifer's channel, which otherwise focuses on enjoying wholesome moments with family, so I really don't think this is video editing. I also wanted to ask that everyone please show the utmost respect when telling me if you believe this is real or fake, since it deals with the memory of a loved one. Everyone's done a harmless face swap, but what happens when the swap becomes scary? Posted by Primal Chaos and later submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This face swap between friends took a dark turn when one of the friends left the frame, only to allow a terrifying invisible being to swap faces with the remaining friend. The scary swapped face looks demon-like, causing the dude whose face it swapped to turn around and look for the paranormal being he's been partnered with. Many in the comments of this video find this unpleasant and unexpected swap upsetting. If this happened in a dream, what might it mean? Perhaps that your dream has taken a step in another direction. That's of a nightmare. Nothing is more terrifying than surveillance footage of an event, especially one that ends human life. This video footage shows 3 suspects involved in a double life-taking in South Ogden, Utah. Surveillance footage surrounding the scene of the event captured 2 suspects peering through the home's windows and later a masked man fleeing the scene. All 3 suspects were wearing hard plastic masks. According to several news articles documenting the event, police believe the incident was not random, but targeted, and that the suspects were familiar with both the people in their home. South Ogden Police Chief Darren Park noted that while reports of a loud party had been made to police, he asked any witnesses to come forward and said in a statement that he hoped the families of the people will gain some closure. Multiple surveillance cameras caught the suspects scoping out the home. One suspect was wearing a mask, while the 2 others wore opaque plastic masks as they approached. One camera showed a suspect crouched down, watching the home for a while, after which the second suspect and later the third joined in. A second camera caught them peering into the home's windows. Following the event, one of the men was seen on a third camera hopping over a fence. As of the latest update found online, dated March 2019 by ABC4, the double life-taking remains unsolved. More has been pieced together of the night's events, including the fact that 3 of the Van Komen brothers lived in the home, while the unfortunate older neighbor, Kevin Nelson, had just dropped by when the event occurred. Once 2 of the Van Komen brothers left to pick up some food, leaving just one and one other roommate inside, the strangers seized the opportunity to enter. The brothers were gone for no more than 10 minutes, and when they returned, they found Kyle passed away on the floor. Van Komen's mother, Renee Finch, said of the footage, "I think that it's creepy that they're out there watching," adding later, "We're very thankful we didn't lose all 3 of our boys that night." Nelson's nephew, Ralph Nelson Jr., also said of his uncle that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, a feeling echoed by Finch, who doesn't know why her son might be targeted. There was no clear motive for the double life-taking, which is likely why the trail remains cold today, despite over 70 people being questioned over the past 3 years. Unsolved mysteries are inherently terrifying, and the coldness of this case compounds that fear. This one will make you scream and give you nightmares. Posted by Sarmy127 in September of 2007. This YouTube video went so viral that it prompted this YouTuber to create a pantry ghost documentary. Sarmy writes, "It has been 5 months since the last sighting of the ghost in my pantry. I filmed the door myself at 12:34 every night for 4 months, waiting for some paranormal activity. On September 19th, I capture what may be the first real ghost video proof. So let's take a look at this proof." The beginning of the video shows the pantry door opening of its own accord in the darkness. The man filming walks towards the door and shuts it, and as he backs away, a freaky figure presses its face and hands against the glass of the door. As he backs up, the horrifying thing disappears for some reason. He then approaches the door again, jerking it open, but there's nothing there. The contents within the pantry appear untouched. Did your hair stand on end? Did you scream? Some in the comments of this video did. This video had me afraid of what might be lurking behind the closed doors in my plate. While exploring deep inside the Cave of Mounds, YouTuber Near Shadow starts to hear whispers. Listen closely.
Oh, your light, hold on.
What was that? What was that? What is that?
Hello?
Later, you can definitely hear a child's voice in this larger cavern.
Oh, it looks like it's like gonna fall. Look.
It does. This is cool.
Yeah, there's so much moisture that you're like, you don't know, like, look how wet that is, and then you can't.
The team doesn't appear to hear this in the moment. To me, the voice sounds a lot louder than the earlier whispers. Is there a child spirit trapped in the Cave of Mounds? I think it's time to send in the cave divers. This paranormal activity couldn't be clearer. Published by Paranormal Maya in January of 2022, the paranormal investigator is speaking to the jinn that haunts this home.
Niyetim sizi rahatsız etmek diye bir şey yok. Sizler bizleri rahatsız ediyorsunuz.
As he speaks, the door slowly swings closed and then slams shut. An EVP captures a phrase that means, Shut up, we are at your home.
Kafir cinlersiniz.
Who exactly is here? I don't want to stick around to find out. Nothing good happens at 3 a.m. This TikTok posted by Diego Speckers is yet another example of that. Just watch. Wow, that's pure nightmare fuel. What was that child doing there, amongst the hanging laundry? Its black inky eyes are a real giveaway. This thing's a demon. As the person backs off, you see it again for a split second in the gap. But there's nothing below for this thing to stand on. Don't know about you, but I think this is the real deal. Definitely a demon. Another reason to leave 3 a.m. to the owls. YouTuber Yvonne thinks her apartment is haunted. Posted in January of 2018. Yvonne writes that she heard a clanking noise in her home and turned on the camera to try to capture the noise. She notes in the video description, our cabinets are brand new, no way for any rodent to get in. Also, they are the kind that don't swing shut on their own. You have to physically close them. The short clip shows a shot of her kitchen, assumedly from where the sound was coming. After a moment, a large clattering is heard as a cupboard opens of its own accord, and something from inside falls to the floor.
Oh my god.
This isn't the first case of odd happenings in the home. According to Yvonne, strange occurrences have been going on for a while. What do you think? Is it time to move? Paranormal explorers Moxley of Moxley's Crazy Adventures and Dan of Nighthawk Exploring team up to explore an abandoned house so haunted that only two well-versed paranormal investigators such as themselves could ever hope to stand a chance against it. Known only as the Invisible House, the haunted place in the UK is host to ghastly figures and ghostly apparitions that will make your skin crawl as they reach out and brush by. While exploring the second floor, they pass by a small statue kneeling in prayer. The way it faces into the room makes me think it was left there to protect against something inside, a paranormal presence that doesn't want them in there exploring the abandoned house at all. Somewhere nearby, a door closes all by itself, and when you slow down the video at 6 minutes and 4 seconds, there is a half-concealed outline of a pale ghost face in the window. Not knowing that they've already caught a ghost sighting on tape, they break out the K2 meter to get supernatural consent for their paranormal investigation to continue.
Are you okay with myself and Moxley being here? Can you take it to the yellow or orange? Would you be okay if myself and Moxley used the spirit box in here?
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
A chill passes over them, and just like the legends say, the ghost hunters hear and feel a presence brush by them both. They turn around to find this heavy cabinet door, which was open when they first came in, is now closed. They open and close the cabinet to see how heavy it is, and conclude that it is too heavy to close on its own from a gentle breeze. And get this, every time they touch the cabinet door, a ghost orb angrily flies overhead. It happens 3 times and it's quite creepy. A YouTuber named Joe's Paranormal TV decides to explore a haunted forest in Michigan in the early morning hours. The first thing they notice is how all of the trees look unnatural, like nothing they've ever seen before. In fact, the deeper into the forest they go, the stranger things seem to get.
What was that?
A metallic clang draws their attention, followed by faint cries in the distance.
You hear that? What the heck? What the?
Joe thinks he sees moving shadows and tries to reassure himself that he and his friend are alone in the wilderness. Still, his camera's batteries are draining fast despite being brand new, and now he feels like he's being watched. Joe's equipment starts to malfunction for a moment. It clears up just in time to catch this noise.
It's creepy out here, man. I'm not sure what direction it came from though. It sounded like right up ahead of us here.
It's the unmistakable sound of a baby crying. I think that they probably really did hear this, but let me know if you think it's real or edited. Anyway, they eventually find a clearing of slashed trees that have been rearranged into strange symbols. Maybe someone in the comments section can tell me if these are pagan symbols or not, and if so, what they mean and what they would be doing here. Eventually, Joe's terror becomes unmanageable, and he flees after he thinks he hears something close by. Strange voices continue to follow Joe and his friend as they make their way out. This short clip was taken at an unidentified prison that is most likely abandoned. This is an actual creature coming out of the darkness, or are the shadows just playing tricks on you? I will say that there are signs of editing. The dust is swirling a lot faster than normal, which makes me believe that this footage was sped up. It could have been a normal person dressed in all black, quietly walking up and then backing away, which would look very paranormal when sped up like that. Maybe the video was sped up for some other reason and is in fact real. A YouTuber called Bangladesh Ghost Hunter, together with his trusty dog Thomas, go exploring abandoned houses and other fabled haunted places deep in the woods. One of their freakier finds takes place at night deep in the woods, where scary things are caught on camera, beginning with a scream.
এবং আপনারা ওয়েট এই জন্য কিন্তু থমাস কোথায় দেখো তো।
As they strain into the darkness, a large number of weird things are caught on camera that deserve further analysis.
ওখানে কিছু আছে, ঠিক আছে, এই জন্য কিন্তু থমাস কোথায় দেখো তো ছিল, মানে হা করে সেই ধোঁয়াগুলো খাচ্ছিল। থমাস থমাস
Watch this part beginning at 5 minutes and 39 seconds and see how much paranormal activity you can see in 15 seconds.
যখন আলাদা করতে চেয়েছিল, তো তখন কিন্তু আমি কাছে ছিলাম, তখন আর কি পরিস্থিতি হয়েছিল সেটা যদি একটু বল।
Okay, at 5 minutes and 40 seconds, a strange yellow orb glances across the camera and goes away. 2 seconds later, he turns his head as this pink aura is caught on camera that may or may not be the cameraman's finger, but in that moment, a strange wispy mist rains down on him that he can't see. 20 minutes and 40 seconds is when they finally see it. A form between two trees in the shape of a person. The flashlight chances upon it for but a brief moment and then it's gone. But it's still there watching them, of that I am sure. Have you ever heard your loved one's voice coming from another world? Posted to TikTok by Gio Van Lima, this creepy video will catch you off guard. The man recording hears a woman's voice which he identifies as his girlfriend's coming from around the corner, but he turns to find her asleep next to him. He writes that they were alone at the time, so who or what is trying to lure him into another room? Is this one of those demon spirits? I think that's a strong possibility. When you're an urban explorer planning to explore an abandoned building, be prepared to find it occupied. All Around Lifestyle published this video in December of 2015. Mike wrote, "Me and a mate went exploring in a grain elevator, which is located in Poland in a city called Warklaw. The footage was captured on a GoPro Silver 3 edition. After exploring the cellar and several other floors, they explore the grounds. There are several other small buildings in the area, and as they approach one of them, they hear voices.
You can hear there's someone in there.
This building is as dilapidated as the rest of them, rubble on the ground, but in the far room, the guys distinctly hear several voices. Mike enters the small building, and when the people in question appear in the far doorway, he asks in Polish if he can record there. One man says yes, but another says no and tells him to leave now. Mike explains afterwards that he believes the people in the abandoned buildings were living there. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to run into anyone in this remote place." Paranormal investigators Mindseed TV get schooled by the spirits while exploring this haunted elementary school. They enter into what can only be described as a spooky atmosphere.
The f was that?
I know exactly what that was.
That's a wolf, huh?
Gotta be.
Yeah, that's one way to start the night.
As they walk around, the spookiness increases.
Whoa. Hey. Seen that? Hello? Hello?
No way.
While they're examining the door, something appears in the floor grate below. Watch closely.
Right away.
What was that? While the crew is downstairs, a static camera they left in the living room picks this up. First, the horse toy moves around oddly on its own, and then a shadow figure appears to move away from it. Here it is again. What now occupies this haunted school? Well, I'm prone to thinking it's the former students. I'm sure there are other theories as well. What do you think is going on here? For more creepy videos like this one, be sure to check out Mindseed TV's channel. Andre Gennaro published this epic encounter between a drone and a motorbike in March of 2014. First off, I'm taking guesses on who comes out of the other side of this incident unscathed. The biker and the drone meet, just as he takes his motorbike off a jump. At top speed, the bike collides with the drone, and then all you see is the aftermath. When the drone's operator picks up his aircraft, you can see the biker laying on the ground, apparently the worse for wear of the pair. We're guessing the biker's injuries were not dire, as the drone's operator is seen laughing off the incident. Just goes to show that these fun, high-flying devices can be dangerous when in the wrong hands. YouTuber Moment Films was digging in his backyard when he came across a hole covered in bricks, so he and his friend continued digging. Peeking in the hole halfway through, the kids see something metal, pipes, and glass bottles. They move brick out of the way. The kid thinks it used to be a dump before being covered up and built over top. One man's trash is another man's treasure, he says. The crew tries to figure out a way to get into the gap safely without hurting themselves. While digging, they find two blue glass bottles dating back to 1906 that read Milk of Magnesia. They're able to sit down in the backyard treasurescape after finding a hole with a lid leading to the underground junkyard. Here they sift through a truckload of treasure, including loads of old glass bottles, newspapers from the 1900s, rusted metal odds and ends. When they show a shot from underground, you can see the place was built with a perfectly bricked-in ceiling. The area is pretty expansive. After cleaning all the bottles with soap and water and sorting them out, they claim them as their treasure. Kids, the moral of this story is don't spend all your time indoors. Buried treasure may be hidden right in your own backyard. Amanda Castillo uploaded a video to YouTube of her being stuck in a traffic jam on a busy highway near Chino Hill. Usually in a traffic jam like this, it can be quite boring as you have nothing to do but to simply wait until the backup slowly starts to ease up and you can continue driving. But that day, Amanda saw something that definitely caught her attention. Right here. And what this uploader is claiming is that this is a bird that has passed away and is just floating in the air. And I do kind of see that outline that they're talking about. I mean, whatever this is, bird or not, it still looks like something that shouldn't be just floating in the air like it is. And it looks like whatever it is, it's floating fast as well, like it's clearly moving. This is one of the very few videos I have seen recently that I honestly have no explanation for what is happening. It looks like a bird is simply floating in midair above this busy highway, but that obviously cannot be possible. However, it looks like this is exactly what is happening here. A commenter on Amanda's videos claims to have also been on the same highway that day at around the same time, and he claims that he saw the bird too and assures people that there was no visible string anywhere attached to the bird. So what could have possibly caused this? Is this really a bird or something else? I'm curious to hear your theories on this one. With a name like Witch's Tower, you know this place is bound to brew up some terror. Published by YouTuber Mo Sargi in May of 2011, the adventurer takes on a return trip to the tower. Mo previously visited and experienced paranormal activity here and chose to go back. Mo says that rituals were done up in the tower of this historic building, so that's where he goes. As he's upstairs in the tower with the lights off, something downstairs clatters.
Got one window open, not sure why that's open, but... Oh. What the is that? Hello?
He turns his camera light back on and asks hello, but is only greeted by more clattering. A much louder and closer bang scares him out of the room and down the stairs where the other crew members have been the whole time.
Hello? Guys?
The crew returns upstairs into the tower to investigate. While there, a door closes right at the base of the tower stairs, launching Mo across the room again. Up in the tower, they find pennies piled on a ledge and realize that was the clattering that Mo initially heard dropping from the tower. Sure enough, there are pennies on the staircase below. When they are checking out the small area under the stairs, where a load of bees are piled, another bang is heard in the other room.
The dead bees were... Whoa!
They find nothing but another pile of flies and beetles on a windowsill. Another creepy discovery is an old Motorola phone which Mo finds on the top shelf of a closet. The three then hear something break downstairs.
We can find down here. Omar's in that bedroom over there.
And it turns out to be a broken mirror in the hallway. As Mo looks around the bottom floor for whoever caused the glass to break, he sees something or someone pass by. He tells the others that someone was walking there. After the door to the tower slams shut again, the trio are waiting and listening for something downstairs when the old Motorola starts ringing.
What the phone? Oh my
phone is ringing.
They go to pick up the phone from the floor and it appears to be off. They note the strange lines drawn on it, like some sort of symbolology, and they throw the phone into a closet and shut the door. Heading back downstairs, they again hear something crash upstairs. When Mo goes to investigate, he finds the phone on the first floor landing. The last bit brings forth a lot of questions. How did this phone arrive here? What do the symbols mean? How is it ringing but not powered on? And most importantly, who is on the other end? A TikToker named Jayla has a strange and creepy window that she attributes to a helpful ghost.
Really want the window to open. Mr. Ghosty, can you keep opening it for me?
I didn't do anything. Clean my room, did everything that I...
A little bit more, please.
I can't leave. I can't.
I feel like I'm missing some kind of obvious scientific explanation as to how this window is able to do this by itself. It would be weird enough for a window to go down on its own, but one going up is just a whole other level of bizarre. She seems way too calm for it to be a spirit, but maybe she is used to its presence by now. If not, what else could it be? Most people know not to move after they've been in a wreck, but a TikToker named XOXO Kate is getting turned up in a car that's been turned upside down. Through a shattered windshield, you can see they've been struck and are now hanging suspended. I know that their adrenaline is high, and the video is definitely an original idea, but I feel like they could have had internal damage to their organs that they don't feel at the moment and could be making worse. Moving their head around with a concussion would likewise make the situation worse than it had to have been. Like I said, this video is interesting, and I'm glad they weren't thrown from the car because the aftermath looks really serious, but I think the proper procedure would be not to move until an ambulance arrives. A paranormal investigator named Paravent posted this video of their daughter, who they think may have attracted a spirit of her own. She raises the camera to show nobody is in there, and the corner is indeed empty. But when she thinks it's over, the spirit lets her get through just a little more of the song, and then moves the chair again. The chair isn't fully visible, so it could be staged because anybody could have moved it at the bottom, but when I first saw this, I thought it kind of looked like someone was pulling up a chair to hear her play, and that was before I read the many different comments saying the same thing. So is this fake, or really someone watching from the other side? A beautiful home built in 1934 turned ugly when in 2009, the real estate mogul who bought the home took his wife's life, claiming the woman went missing on a hike. A search began for his wife but turned up nothing. A year later, the man put a new addition on his home that raised enough suspicion for police to request a search warrant. They found the wife buried beneath the home. The man was given more than 20 years behind bars, and the house remains abandoned. Published by Dark Exploration Films, this walkthrough of the home is incredibly disturbing. Taking viewers through the grounds and inside the home, the explorer comes upon the hole in which the woman was buried.
Let's go into the room that everybody wants to see. So this room was added in 2009. And once the police found out about this construction, they were a little skeptical.
Many in the comments are bewildered that anyone could live in the home they buried their wife in without getting telltale-hearted to the point of insanity. Others feel a sense of darkness and foreboding and even a feeling of sadness there. Surely the woman's spirit remains. Papa Jake is returning to a haunted sewer tunnel that he explored once before. But this time it's 3 a.m. He and his friends think that a large sewer creature might be down there, so they bring a lot of extra equipment, like motion sensors and night vision, to capture it on video. Their first encounter happens not in the tunnel itself, but rather in the surrounding woods.
Something's in the nest! Something's in the nest! Something is in the nest!
What appears to be some type of humanoid creature scampers across the forest floor on all fours. Only one of the two friends see it, so I guess he manages to convince himself that it was nothing, and they continue to press on. A short while later, they finally locate the tunnel. They are very deep inside when a strange and haunting moan convinces them to get out of there fast.
Oh Jesus, what was that? What was that?
The noise is coming from the same direction they just came from, so Papa Jake and his friend try to outrun the creature at a fast pace, taking blind turn after blind turn for a full 5 minutes. It isn't long before they find themselves wandering down an oversized pipe, completely lost. Whatever is chasing them, on the other hand, apparently knows every last twist and turn of this labyrinthian cesspit and finds them quickly. At this point, they all stopped recording to run for their lives. Papa Jake now feels he has sufficient evidence of the rake, and I doubt he will ever go back there. As always, be sure to let me know if you think this is real or not based on what you've seen. Their reactions all seem very genuine, but there's always the possibility of special effects. Humans are not the only ones spying ghosts in our midst. Animals are well known to be sensitive to various stimuli, often accurately predicting earthquakes before they happen, and acting extremely anxious and skittish beforehand. These sensitivities also appear to include sensing paranormal entities. There are countless stories out there of pet owners describing their pets reacting towards unseen figures or becoming distressed prior to a paranormal event occurring. Happy Fox Productions is a channel making short films from comedy to action to drama. Things took a different turn on September 1st, 2020 when the channel uploaded a more meta video. Founder Justin Melson explains he was on vacation with his mother in December of 2019 when his home security picked up something strange. When he got home, he and his mom noticed the cats were acting different. Concerned, they checked the footage from the cameras and found something that shocked and puzzled them. As the video starts, one of the cats is visible on the bed, standing upright and looking around. She then reacts to something near the exit of the room, and right then an unexplained shadow is cast against the door. The shadow has physical features resembling a person, including arms and legs, and appears to be walking past the door and into the bedroom. As it fades from view, the second cat makes its appearance, seemingly following whatever was walking into the room. Both cats acting confused. As the second cat fully enters the room, a TV table in front of the camera rocks, as if something brushed past it. At the same moment, a dark mist briefly appears over the chair behind it before vanishing, and then the door starts closing on its own. The clip ends when the camera suddenly pans to the right, and Melson says it stayed there the remainder of their time away. In the video's description, he explains there wasn't anything out of place besides a few books knocked over, which could easily be dismissed as the cat's doing. But what doesn't make sense to him is he found clumps of cat hair around, a sign his cats were fighting. He found this odd as they had never fought before, and he has no explanation for why. From the sounds of his writing, it would appear he and his mom hadn't experienced anything out of the ordinary before, so why now? Well, people will certainly say this was simply a hoax as the owners have filmmaking experience. It doesn't explain the reaction of the cats. Herding cats means an impossible task for a reason, as cats can be difficult to train, despite being good pets. The confusion in the cat's expressions and their behavior after does sound some alarm bells. It is unknown if anything happened after, but we are hoping there will be a follow-up soon. The audio of this dashcam video will haunt you. At around noon in October 2014, in Indianapolis, Indiana, a woman was sitting in her car outside an office building with a dashcam recording in process. In the video, a person can be seen walking past her vehicle wearing a strange mask. While the footage only shows one individual, according to the woman, there were 5 of them total out of sight. You can hear the woman laughing as she asks the group where they got their masks. But soon she learns that this isn't a joke as they smash out her windows and rob her. The woman was pulled out of her vehicle by her hair and thrown on the ground by a woman in a face mask and camo jacket. The attacker then took the woman's cell phone and purse. It seems this wasn't the group's first attack of the day. They were also charged with breaking the window of a moving car. Looks like we're not even safe sitting in a parking lot. This home inspector wasn't expecting to find this. Published by Cleveland Marco in July of 2011. The inspector is at this residence and explains that a former resident is said to have passed away in her sleep there and that her ghost remains. As he's explaining that the ghost is said to enjoy walking around and opening doors in the home. A door opposite slams open by itself. This surprises them all.
And she likes to open doors. And she says, well, they say that doors open by themselves. No way!
They try it again. The inspector opens a door, and as he does, the door across the room opens as well.
All right, let's do this again. All right, here it goes. Open the door.
That is unbelievable.
No.
This happens 3 times. While some are saying it's the air pressure in the room, others are keener on the ghost story. I definitely think something mysterious is going on in this house. This eerie video has me doing a double take, published by Spot You Like in April of 2008. This scary clip is filmed outside the stunning York Minster. The bells are ringing and the cameraman is taking it all in. He scans the cathedral and then starts walking toward it. A shot later, he is continuing on his way down a narrow shop lane. While the bells continue to sound, shops line either side of the street. But watch what happens in the upper window to the left. The cameraman zooms in on the ghostly pale face of a small child looking out the window. The child's eyes are dark and inky, and its face mask-like. As the camera zooms, the child disappears. The uploader notes that the house is called the Belfry and was built in the 17th century. Some in the comments claim to have stayed there and say that it has seriously spooky vibes. Is this the thing putting out those vibes? I'd say it's a pretty good chance. Basements are built to house all the evils of the world. This basement is no exception. Published by YouTuber Mr. Vujade in February of 2012, this frightening basement monster will scare the living daylights out of you. The short clip sees our protagonist heading downstairs into a creepy dark basement. As he slowly searches the space, it appears empty, apart from a few piles of storage items, some bicycles, the usual suspects in a basement. But then suddenly he turns, which is when he is confronted by this. I'm never going down there again, the YouTuber writes. Who can blame him? I don't think I could ever work up the courage to explore that basement. A YouTuber named Cooper Mackey says he has been hearing weird laughing voices around his house lately and his sister has been acting really bizarre. So he grabs the camera and starts recording. It isn't long until his sister stops talking and slips into another one of her strange trances.
You can stop. Okay? Okay?
She briefly snaps out of it for a couple of minutes and then goes back under.
God. Oh my god. Shay, please.
This time she wakes up and remembers nothing. The way I see it, this has to be one of 3 possibilities. Either all of this is just acting, a real medical disorder, or an actual possession. Based on what I've seen, it's probably only a matter of time before something like this happens again. A YouTuber named Joe Hall takes to the streets in search of the supposedly supernatural, black-eyed ghost children who come out at 3 a.m. This trek eventually turns into a long walk along the railroad tracks in the middle of the night. They are just about to give up when one of them spots a small piece of white fabric flapping in the bushes.
Oh my god, what is that thing?
We gotta get out of here, man.
That thing right there, you see it?
Yeah, well, why are we here?
Let's go.
From the shadows comes a person draped in a white gown, just like the legends say. However, I think there's probably a strong chance that this was one of their friends, because it pretty much looks and runs like a normal person in my opinion. It's following them for a while, but then it disappears at exactly 11 minutes and 3 seconds, which is strange, though it could be achieved with some simple editing. They reach their ride a minute later, and shortly before they peel off, this white piece of fabric flaps behind them. Maybe I was wrong about my earlier assumption about this being made up. Unfortunately, we never do get to see its face to tell if the eyes were fully black like the legend says, or not. If something knocks on a door in an abandoned home, don't answer. Published by Indra Saputra Official in March of 2022, this ghost hunter is faced with something that wants in. When he opens the door, Indra finds an empty bathroom. After turning back to the rest of the room, he sees a shadow peeking up over a wall. It slowly pulls down out of sight.
Nggak ada apa-apa. Kita lanjut lagi. Itu apa, Cuk?
When Indra rounds the corner to look, nothing is there. Did the figure manage to creep out soundlessly? Or is Indra facing off with nothing but a shadow? After a mission to an old haunted railway tunnel, Crypto Girl 13 spied something mysterious in her footage while editing. Published in August of 2013, the Crypto Girl and her friend are navigating through the forest and mud to the mouth of the tunnel. After wading through obstacles of sludge and climbing over large branches, they arrive at the entrance. Zooming into the deep darkness, the video starts glitching out as she talks about the story of a monster living in the tunnel.
Old story that some kind of creature. Take the camera. There's some kind of creature.
Getting closer to the entrance, they hear some creepy noises inside.
What the is that?
But it was upon editing the footage that they spotted these two glowing red orbs, which they believe to be eyes of the legendary monster. Were they closer to the cryptid than they ever imagined? Or is there something else inhabiting this old railway tunnel? Since it's been almost 10 years, I don't know if this mystery will ever be solved. Does this man have an unwanted paranormal roommate? Published in January of 2021, this individual woke up to doors slamming and got up to check it out. The man says this is a frequent occurrence.
My door just slammed again. There's no windows open in the house at all.
As he looks around the house, his roommate, Brad, asks if he's the one slamming the door.
No.
He answers in the negative and continues his search, revealing that only he and Brad are home. After a moment, the table in the middle of the living room floor jerks toward him on its own.
Yeah, It wasn't me, man. I didn't even touch it.
He watches the table for a bit, while Brad seems completely unconcerned and out of it. The cameraman shows that there are no cords around or attached to the table that he could have tripped over. The only cords are to the Nintendo remote controls, but they are in front of the table. So how did this table move so aggressively? There must be spirits abound in this haunted home. A strange creature sighting was caught on camera, moving fast along the Powell River in BC, Canada. The unknown creature was seen by many, but only one witness, a man named Oscar, was fast enough to have captured video evidence of one of the scariest moments of his life. He fully admits what he saw on the lake haunts him to this day. He saw it coming from half a mile away, a mysterious figure moving fast underwater. He says by the time he ran into his RV camper for a camera and came back, it was already moving past him, so he only caught but a few mysterious and unexplained moments on video. On one hand, this does look like something strange and mysterious slithering just beneath the water's surface, like a gigantic sea snake. On the other hand, this video looks like something getting pulled by a boat, a tow line perhaps. The fact that you only see the last 17 seconds is kind of suspicious, but would make sense if he had to run and get a camera. It all depends on how much you believe him. Oscar goes on to explain that this lake is 1,200 feet deep in some areas, and was once connected to vast ancient glaciers where deep-sea channels could have once led to mysterious and unknown creatures. Perhaps this unexplained video is one of these deep-sea creatures coming up for a visit. It sounds like an interesting legend, but I think I would need more video evidence than this to fully believe it. And trust me, if I find more videos about the monster of Powell Lake, I will be sure to analyze them. In the meantime, tell me what you think of his bizarre sighting, especially if you have any idea what this unexplained video could be. A TikTok user named Dixon83 catches a paranormal experience in the kitchen, which he had suspected was haunted for some time. His suspicions are confirmed when his cat trots through and the closest cabinet door swings open by itself, followed by what I think is a heavy exhale. His cat is definitely looking directly into the cabinet at something unseen. Tell me what you think it was. Even ghosts are trying to go to college. Published to YouTube by Philip Potgieter in March of 2016, this freaky school video was captured at Helpmaker College in Johannesburg, South Africa. The footage shows a phantom figure gliding down the hallway at around 11 at night. It edges towards a wall and merges into what we can assume is a classroom to the right. The figure disappears without further explanation. Is this ghost just heading to its next night class, or does it need help from Helpmaker to cross into the beyond? Most of us have watched videos that return to us in our sleep. Imagine a robot child with deadened eyes. Would you want to be greeted with such a smile? TechCrunch calls Afeto the wild boy head robot of your nightmares. A comment on this video clip by YouTube user Ragnarok AT confirms that. Thank you for bringing my absolute scariest nightmare to life. I won't be sleeping for the next few days. Once this robot grins at you, you probably won't either. The idea was to give the robot human-like emotions, and that's what these researchers did, but for some reason the result is so uncanny it gives you the chills. A video of the Afeto prototype was first posted in 2011. Back then it was even scarier than today's version. Researchers have since added facial skin and hair, but that doesn't seem to remove the deadness from the robot's eyes. In fact, it likely makes the cyberhuman seem even more bizarre. Apart from the creepiness of the robot's facial expressions, blades and spikes jut out of its body, as though it's a machine meant to destroy you. The three researchers wrote of their continued progress with the robot, citing new methods to create more expressivity in the second-generation model of Afeto. These findings, the researchers claim, will allow for deeper interactions with humans due to the broader range of robot emotions. While all of this is very technical, viewing the video clip will inspire an entirely visceral emotional reaction. And believe me, the movements of this robot child will not leave your nightmares soon. A group of friends from high school are joking around in Call of Duty. As the round comes to an end, somebody enters the private party and turns on their mic.
I'm saying they saw it.
Yeah, they got 2 of them in the...
This is soon followed by evil laughter.
We're literally getting drilled on.
Like I said, these are close friends from high school who know each other's voices very well. If any of them were joking, at least one of them would pick up on it and know who. And besides that, this next noise does not even sound like a human.
Like that was?
I don't even...
The microphone at times sounds way louder and more clear than any of theirs, and sometimes like it's on another planet. Hopefully it was just hackers and not something from the other side.
Yeah, they got 2 of them in the...
A woman leaves her car unlocked and loses some personal items, including a set of keys. A short time later, a man who she has never seen before comes to her front door and attempts to gain entry with her missing keys. Fortunately, none of the keys were the house key, and he quickly hurries off with nothing. This just goes to show how easily one incident can lead to another. If you ever experience anything like this, don't underestimate the persistence of those doing it. Sometimes the more clever ones will track you back to your house and try to do the same thing a second time. It's 2008 and two friends record themselves playing video games because they're bored and live streaming doesn't exist yet. As they're getting frustrated at Mario and talk trash on each other's skills, they both fail to see a ghostly watcher at the window. At 43 seconds, a pale blue face appears and then fades away. It could be a ghost in the window like they claim, but I think more realistically, it was probably a reflection of one of their friends in the same room as them. It kind of looks like one of their friends is shining a flashlight up at their face to give a spooky effect. Even though this video has been freaking people out for over 12 years now, I think it's most likely staged. Don't Look Out the Window, published in November of 2011 by Mr. Jocko van Heerden. A group of friends just hanging out has one more hanger-on than expected in this scary video, filmed in Johannesburg, South Africa. The young people are just chilling in a bedroom when something catches their eye. Turning toward the sliding glass door, an enormous pale creature is standing outside their window watching.
Don't be so bright there. You did sing.
The creepy creature's features are vague, and at first it's not hard to tell if what's there is actually a living figure or not, but then it very clearly moves. Someone in the room gasps as the enormous figure lurks out of sight.
You did sing.
What is this thing? Is it supernatural or extraterrestrial? And why is it watching them? I don't think I'd feel safe in that house ever again after this. Is this a ghost or just the cold? Posted to the r/chills narrator subreddit by Louis D Vlogs X. This scary video was filmed in a cemetery during a live stream. The video shows old tombstones scattered throughout the graveyard. As the camera pans around, that's when you see it.
Like level out. Because it takes ages for the grass to settle.
A semi-transparent figure appears to walk across the screen from right to left. It's so quick that it's difficult to tell what you're looking at. The camera then lands on one of the living crew, and it doesn't seem as though any of them saw this figure in the moment. Some in the comments think it's the cold breath of the crew member that you see moments later, but it certainly looks more solid than a breath in cold air. What do you think? I think some spirits are quite active at this graveyard. This place just might be haunted by something nefarious. Published by Humboldt Pet Supply in October of 2018, the store's security camera footage reveals a series of creepy incidents that cannot be explained. The first involves a package falling off a shelf on its own. The shop attendant continues to shelve items and then heads over to put the package back. A moment later, after she walks away, the package falls from the shelf again. This time, it also moves across the floor a bit on its own. Another clip shows a cat named Diego pacing the shop. An incongruent shadow cat appears in the light from the doorway. There don't appear to be any other cats in the store but the real and the shadow one. In a third clip, another package falls from its place and moves strangely across the floor. It drifts slowly until it catches Diego, the cat's attention. As the cat approaches it tentatively, the package moves, causing Diego to jump. The cat paws it for a second before he decides he wants nothing to do with this. The package continues across the floor on its own. Is this perhaps the shadow cat playing around with the real one? Seems pretty catty to me. A small cluster of weird deep-sea creatures seem to be embedded inside a piece of coral that broke off and floated ashore. One of the creatures is still moving and seems to retreat from the camera upon getting sighted. I wonder what they look like out of their coral encasement, probably even scarier. Anyway, no one has identified these unknown creatures in the comments, and the uploader of this video describes them only as weird creatures at the beach and leaves it at that. So let's help solve the mystery and figure out what these are. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.